I now call the April 9th, 2024 work session of the Riverton City Council to order at 7 p.m. I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, after which Council Member Borders has agreed to give us the invocation. If you could please rise and remove your hats. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to meet tonight. We ask for your guidance as we work together in our efforts to do what is best for our community. Strengthen us as we make tough decisions that are right for our citizens. We ask that you watch over our police and first responders who protect and serve us every day. Thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Administrative Services Director, Mrs. Harris, would you please conduct the roll call?
Yes, Your Honor. Councilman Dean Paranto.
Absent.
Councilwoman Lindsay Cox.
Here.
Councilman Mike Bailey.
Here.
Councilwoman Carla Borders.
Here.
Councilman Kyle Larson.
Here.
And Councilwoman Christy Salisbury.
Absent. All right, I'd entertain a motion to excuse Dean Paranto and Christy Salisbury from tonight's meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Larson with the motion, Councilwoman Cox with the second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. I do declare we have a quorum. I feel like that's in the South. I do declare. I don't know why I did that. I'd entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Borders with the motion, Councilwoman Cox with the second. Discussion, anything to add? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. All right. Well, next up, we have a legislative update. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. We have asked, and we have here tonight, Representative Pepper Ottman, who agreed to provide, oh, here she is, and Senator Tim Salazar, who agreed to provide a brief update as to what the legislature was up to this year. Let us know kind of where things are at, what we can do to support. So Senator Salazar said he's got an appointment here. He's not quite double booked, but close. So we asked to have him come up first. So if you could come up, Senator Salazar.
Well, thank you, Your Honor. It's a pleasure to be in front of you and the distinguished City Council. You clearly have quite an agenda, so, but I don't want to cheat you on an update. I know, Mr. Mayor, that one of the things that is very important to the City Council is the Riverton State Office Building. And I want to assure you, well, very briefly, initially at the beginning of the budget session, there was a $12 million proposal for renovating whatever particular property was to be purchased. That went down to $8 million. And at the end of the legislative session, there was nothing in the final budget bill. However, I want to assure you and the City Council that there is still $2.5 million for the initial purchase of a property. And as a matter of fact, the State Office Building Task Force is meeting this month. I'm a member of that task force, and we should have some up-to-date information where that stands. And Representative Oakley, who is co-chair of that task force, I'm sure will keep you apprised. As most of you know, this was a budget session. The budget came in to close to $10.8 billion. Initially, it was 9.9, but through negotiations and a number of different negotiations between the Senate and the House, it ended up at that number. Property tax reform was very important to many of us, myself included. We did not get everything we wanted, as you know, reading from the state news. Some of us, such as myself, were eagerly hoping and supporting a special session so that we could get property tax reform. That did not occur. My chamber, the Senate, did approve the special session, but the House did not. I can tell you, however, that in 8 months, that will be the #1 priority for the Senate, is to get significant property tax reform. We overwhelmingly passed a repeal of the gun-free zones in the state of Wyoming. However, the governor vetoed that bill. That, again, will be brought up in 8 months, and I'm very confident that that bill will pass, and if we need to override the veto, we will. I am happy to tell you that the state budget fully funded the nursing homes throughout the state, preschool for developmental disabilities for children, home services for seniors. All those were fully funded, and that's something that many of us fought for. We increased the exemptions for veterans on ad valorem tax from $3,000 to $6,000 for the assessed value of their homestead property. I will mention Senate File 54, which was the significant property tax bill that the governor vetoed. This would have implemented a 25% exemption on the first $2 million fair market value of single-family residential structures for 24 and 25. And it did contain $125 million to reimburse local governments and the school districts. That bill will come up in January, and I do believe it will pass, and if we need to override a veto, we will do so. That, in a very brief nutshell, is what happened in significant issues before the legislature, but the primary purpose, obviously, of the state budget session was the biennial budget, and that did go through, and as I say, most of those elements of taking care of those most vulnerable were fully funded. With regard to good news for the cities, we added significant money, and so those dollar amounts will increase for the city of Riverton, and it'll be up to you, good people, as to how you intend to spend that money. But that was increased significantly from the last biennium. You're on the cutting edge of where all the significant challenges are, and so that was appropriate to do. So with that, Your Honor and members, I'll stand for any questions, but that in a nutshell is what I have to offer right now. I will say one last thing. Next month, I will start once again my town hall meetings. I'll have 8 this year, and considering the number of people that come out, they're very well received. I think people like that, and so I will start out in Du Bois, but I know Representative Ottman has significant things to bring to you as well on the legislative update from her chamber of the House of Representatives. So, and finally, it was good to see you, Mr. Mayor, and members who did come to Cheyenne, and it's always good to get your input and your opinions. It's a bit of a fishbowl, but when you see people from back home and tell you the straight of what people really want to see from their state legislature, that helps tremendously. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Where are we, are you wanting to be able to keep talking next year about the possibility of a hockey, soccer facility here in Riverton? I know that had been line item vetoed out, but is that still something you're going to be trying to push for?
Yeah, so that was vetoed by the governor. I will tell you, it was a bit odd. There's a $5 million arboretum that was approved in the budget. There was a $10 million line item in the budget for study of a new state museum, but the rec center was vetoed. Yes, to answer your question, yes. Yes, we will go forward.
All right. Well, I appreciate your work on that, Senator, and thank you for coming and reporting to us. And
I will say this, I think that had we stayed in town 2 more days, we would have overridden that veto. So
Yeah.
we'll try again.
All right.
Okay, thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
for your hard work.
you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, council members, and admin, it's a pleasure to be here this evening. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Okay. Senator Salazar is always very, very good about giving updates and summaries. And pretty much what he said was what happened. So what I'd like to do, I thought I would tell you a few things, but I would give you an update on some of the things that I was involved with. And first off, I would like to say, actually, where the legislature is going to go over the next year. So I thought I would do that because a lot of times we're not aware of things unless we're directly involved. So first off, I will say thank you for all of your hard work. Secondly, I will say it now and then again in a little while. If you need to look for any of the information that I'm about to give you, you sure can at wyoleg.gov. There's quite a bit that we're going to be doing, that we have done, and you know how agendas get filled. So first off, what I'll say is Management Council is the governing body in the legislature, and they pretty much tell us what we can do for the interim topics. Each committee presents to them, and then they are selected and prioritized. So there's a few of them that I am going to be involved with this year for the Joint Corporations, Elections, and Political Subdivisions Committee. It is a joint committee between the House of Representatives and the Senate. And what our first priority is going to be, and our first meeting will be this month. So the first priority we have is continuation of electrical utility study. You may know or remember that we had a lot of pushback and a lot of things going on with Rocky Mountain Power this last year. And so we're looking at a lot of different things. Can we fund our own utilities? Can we look at what is actually happening? Is it true that there's other states that are kind of making it for us to have rate increases and things? So all of those things are justified in certain ways, but we want to take a closer look at it to make sure what exactly is going on, and also to keep in mind that utility companies are in business as well, so they have to do what their customers want, and we are not their only customer, so we have to keep those things into consideration. Our priority number 2 will be the Wyoming Telecommunications Act study. That study has been ongoing, and it is to sunset on July 25, 2025. So we are going to look at that and also address 911 emergency outage reporting requirements. If the utilities go down, if we have a breakdown, what do we do as far as 911 goes? And so we're going to be looking at that. Also, insurance and agency updates. There's lots of coding going on between the states. The states are independent of insurance companies, but we follow federal guidelines very closely to keep uniform. So we're going to be looking at that. Are we in agreement with all of the federal requirements? Is there a difference? What can we do? What do we not want to do? So we'll be looking at that. Fourth, business fraud and LLC. LLCs are one of the major things that Wyoming is known for, I will say in the legislature. We've developed a wonderful program with that, and we have customers from all over. The Secretary of State's office is one of the only offices in the legislature that makes money, and it's due to the LLCs. The fees that we charge are only like $60 a piece, but we are only second to Delaware as far as filings, and we're coming up close to that. So we want to look at that because in this day and age when we have a lot of nefarious players and LLCs protect the anonymity of stockholders and things, we want to look at that and see what exactly that means and what we need to do. So we're going to be looking at that. Also, housing policies, and then our schedules are set up. So our first meeting will be in Lander, the 20th, I believe, 22nd and 23rd. We will be discussing at that time housing policies, electric policies, telecommunications, fraud, which I just went over, so we will have a busy day. And then second day, the insurance, and there's also something I'm going to go over here with you. And hopefully I just want you to be kind of aware of what the state does, because it's hard to know. You know I come to your meetings on occasion, and it's amazing what you're doing in the city of Riverton, the same with the county commissioners and the town of Du Bois or Pavilion or Hudson. So it's very interesting. One of the things that I am on also, not only corporations, but also management audit, and we are going to look at reports from the state lands. One of, and just to kind of drop this on you, one of the things that is a real enigma is the State Lands and Investment Board. Their job is to utilize the state lands in a way to be most profitable. But if that means to sell them, is that what we want to do? If that means to bring in industry or to bring in some other entities, is that what it is? So that's the push, because the SLIB board has their job to do, state lands has their job to do, and then the rest of us are looking at what is the best for the state of Wyoming. So there's a lot of contention there, and everybody's trying to do their job. So we're going to try to iron that out and really define what that means. So that's what the management and audit will be doing. We also had the training, which everybody was thrilled about, to have people get trained that are on boards. And a lot of people really push back about that, about time and effort, but in my opinion, it is a very good thing to have people educated. When you're a member of a board, you need to know what that board's supposed to be doing, and also to be fiscally responsible, and also to help the other members of the board be fiscally responsible. So we did that. There was 172, I think, not agencies, boards that were out of compliance in October. So we've been able to rattle that cage a little bit, and we're down to net zero. So things are going really well. We had Arapahoe Recreation Board, even as of this last week. Well, in fact, I think today I heard on County Commission that they have come into compliance. So a lot of the things are just getting educated. So that's one of those things. Also, some very important things that are going to be coming up with joint agriculture will be the foreign ownership of land in Wyoming. That is a very hot topic, one, because we all believe in private property rights. Should I not be able to sell to whom I want? But if that is a known violent country and anti-American, is it wise to do that? So we're going to be looking at those things, or they will. And also eminent domain with utilities. Do we trust that it will always be in the private property owners favor about eminent domain. Should they be able to, with telecommunications or electricity or any other thing, roadways, to have eminent domain? So they'll look at that. Water rights, very important, and the right to repair farm equipment. I never imagined that that would be a hot topic, but it is, because people, I mean, if you've ever ranched or farmed, you know when you're out in the middle of the field and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're bailing and something goes down, you do not want to wait for parts from Casper or something. You want to call somebody or do it yourself. And so there's a law against that. And so we're going to be looking at that. So that's a couple of the things from ag. I'll just check. One thing that's going to be on blockchain, and again, this is just for you if something piques your curiosity, look on the website, wyoleg.gov. One of the things I'm watching closely is artificial intelligence governance. This is very important. There's a lot of things, especially in an election year, that we have had tell of that could possibly go on. And it's hard to imagine. But they'll be looking at that. With select natural resources, there's going to be some large, review of the Outdoor Recreation and Tourism Trust Fund. They have about $10 million, I think, in that trust and do different programs. So they're going to look at that to see what all's going on with those projects and how well they're doing. I guess I would like to just say is that the total appropriations for the general fund for the state this last budget session was $3.5 billion. The federal fund appropriations were $2 billion. The school foundation program, $2.6 billion. Other appropriations, and the governor veto lessened that by 2.5 million, but it was still at 2.7 billion. So the total appropriations in the budget bill was it was 11 billion 24 million 880,628. So that kind of gives you an idea there. We just received today, so I can't give you a lot of information, but we just received today the schedules of exactly the appropriations, and I thought you all would be interested in the, let me see, some of this. So I'll just do it real quick. The number one expense in the state budget is health. Second comes colleges and K-12 education. Third is Third is other endowments and things, then justice, and then it goes on down through transportation, general, employment, water, and things like that. But I wanted to tell you about county, if I can find it here. Maybe not. And that's probably enough for your ears anyway. But there is so much that goes on, and everybody wants an update, and it's like, you want an update of what? You know, I mean, Senator Salazar did a really good job of saying, about some bills, and I have some other bills I could go over. Some of them were very controversial. One of them I'll just mention, and it is controversial, but unbelievable. HB 50, what is a woman? Do you know that our legislature could not get that passed? Could not get that passed. So I'll just. We also had parental rights in education. We had Chloe's law. That was a big win. That there will be no puberty blockers and operations on children. We were able to finally get that passed because there's just a lot going on there with young minds and situations in society. And so we were able to curtail that so that things that could be very regretful don't go on until people are adults. So I said the school choice gun-free zone, Senator Salazar mentioned that. HB 148 was to, well, I'll leave that alone. Anyway, that is just kind of in a nutshell. I'll stand for any questions, and thank you for your time. It was an honor to be here.
Thank you, Representative Ottman. Questions, Mr. Bailey?
I have one question, and I don't mean to put you under the light,
Yeah.
but you're the only one here, so. So all of us here had to take that public officer training so that we'd be trained on how to,
Yes.
manage our massive $30 million budget that we have. So how come they didn't make the legislators and senators do it, and you guys are managing $11 billion?
Well, that's a very good question. That's a very good question. One of them, because I am not on appropriations, and they figure that that is where that would be. So they're the spendy ones. Maybe they should take it. But what I will say is that you're right. We all should be make sure that we're trained in finance and budgeting and different things like that. That would be a good idea. But what I will say, and why I supported it for all of you, is because of the turnover on boards. And a lot of times when you have a board that consists of two people and neither one of them really know, you just come in and you start doing a job, then all of a sudden there's reports due. Do you even know that there's reports due? And so just to understand that. Also, I've worked in offices where I've had management, not that any of that would go on here, but where I've had management that said, oh, we don't worry about that, or you don't need to do that, or this is the way we've always done it. And this way, people can have some backing to know where to look and how to do things properly. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions? I thought that was a good question too, Representative Ottman. That might be something worth taking to the legislature and say, what's good for the goose should be good for the gander.
Well, yes, I think that would be a very good idea. I would not fight you one bit on that. I will say, though, that the budget was balanced.
Yes,
So,
that is good, and I appreciate that it passed, although that was definitely after quite a bit of consternation, as I understand it, and some late nights, so.
yes.
You mentioned, and I'll just, I guess, leave you with this as something to consider as you move into the interim topics for the House corporations, elections, and political subdivisions. I've gotten excited the last 2 years about the HB 82, this year's what it was numbered, about abandoned and nuisance buildings. And I guess I'd encourage you to look at that over the interim, because I really do think that could be very helpful in terms of owners of buildings that have been abandoned or a nuisance, that they could get money against their tax requirements if they alleviate that nuisance.
Right.
And so I've been excited about it the last 2 years, and of course, being a budget year, it was too bad it didn't get any traction, but I guess just as you're looking at that in the interim, I think that could be really helpful to Riverton and other communities, so.
Right, and I remember that at one of the RECDA meetings as well, that was a topic of interest. And it is around the state, actually, especially in Laramie, also is really supporting that bill.
I think that one of the representatives or senators from Laramie was one of the folks
Yeah,
that had brought it.
Representative Sherwood, yeah.
So, anyway, just something to bring up, because that looked like that's right up your alley in terms of what will be some of the interim topics.
If I could just ask you a question, I know all these people are like, we want to get to our thing, and I appreciate that because it's important. But what I would say is some of that housing and nuisance and things, that is local control. I mean, as far as how do you want to say that you can control someone's property? And so, that will take some information maybe from you guys to help out with that, because it's a touchy topic, but might as well get it handled and get it done.
Well, and what I liked about that bill in particular was it wasn't anything that said that the city has to do anything. It just gave us the option of being able to say, hey, this is a building that we want something done with, and gives the owner of the building or the property a financial incentive to do something with it.
Yes.
And so I think it really was win-win, and I guess would just encourage you to look at it, but we can talk more offline.
Sure.
Thank you.
And it is, because in this day and age with people going into abandoned buildings and the things that go on there, but also fire hazards and eyesores. And why not, I mean, in this day and age where we need more property for housing and things, why not find out what can be done with that? Sure.
Right.
Good. Okay.
you.
Well, make sure you keep on me about that. All right.
I will.
Yeah.
I know how to get a hold of you.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for attending, and thank you very much, Representative Ottman. Appreciate it. So, first off, I guess just to make sure everybody knows exactly how this meeting is going to go, our next item on the agenda, we're going to have a report from our Administrative Services Director about where we're going to go next. But just to give everybody a heads up, this is a work session tonight. There will not be any decisions made tonight. This is really a time for folks to be able to present to us, and then as we're going through the budget process, we will be making the decisions. So I just wanted to make sure everybody is aware you're not going to be getting answers tonight as we go forward. But I very much appreciate you being here, and if you could kind of give us your report, Ms. Harris.
Thank you, Your Honor. The City of Riverton receives direct distribution funding from the state of Wyoming each year, as just mentioned by Senator Salazar. Historically, the monies are allocated towards one-time capital purchases and expenditures, and a portion is also provided to local programs and organizations that benefit the community citizens. These organizations are not under the direct oversight of the city and are not maintained as city departments. Last year, the City Council approved funding requests totaling $275,000 to 13 entities and recently funded another entity with unused awarded funding. Beginning February 13th of this year, the staff began noticing the public about the application process, and the city staff also provided email notifications to the entities that received funding last year. They not only notified current recipients, but also allowed the opportunity for any interested organizations to request council approval of monies before the adoption of the fiscal year 24-25 budget, which will happen late in June. This year, the staff received $753,649 in funding requests from 19 organizations. This meeting tonight just is allowing you, the council, to review the submissions and allow the applicants to make a brief presentation and answer any questions that you may have regarding their funding requests. This will assist you in determining funding distributions for the budget adoption. And with that, I'd stand for any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Any questions before we get started? Traditionally, we've done this in alphabetical order, which is maybe a little bit unfair because CATS is the one that's first in the alphabet, and most of the organizations have an R in their name, so we have a lot of Rs. So what I would like to do is invite organizations to come up, and I'll just call you up. I'll just say the name. If you could come up and give about 2 to 5 minute presentation followed by questions. I say 2 to 5 minutes to encourage you that if you want to take 2 minutes, feel free. You don't have to feel bad like you've done way too short. But to let you know that the outer limit of that would be 5 minutes. I'll time you. Not that we're going to like have a hook come off the stage. Maybe some of the people in here are too young to know that. Anyway. There's not going to be a hook that's going to come off the stage, but I will warn you when it's at about 4 minutes so that you know you've got about a minute left. I'll just kind of wave at you, okay? But yeah, we're not going to have anybody come and beat you up if you go over 5 minutes, but I would ask you if you could try to keep it to 5 minutes. All right, so we'll start with Central Wyoming CATS. Do we have a representative from CATS tonight? Oh, here you are. And if you could just, when you come up, tell us your name.
I'm Becky Kenyon, and I'm the president of the board for CATS.
My name is Megan Obergoss, and I am a board member.
Oh, yeah. What do I don't know how to do this.
That's okay. Is this your computer?
No?
Okay. Probably just have to drag it over.
Nope,
You
sorry.
know how to do it. This is free time. If you're getting assistance from the aisle, it's not going against your time.
Okay, let's try that again. Hold on.
Thank you.
You do it? I got you.
Good. All right, we'll kind of move out of the way.
Maybe. You stop it.
All right, thank you for allowing us to come tonight. We are celebrating 10 and a half years of being opened. Our average visits per month have been about 200 kids per month, and we are open 3 days a week right now. We do have opportunities for schools to come and visit us, and we do open our museum for any time with the schools. They don't have to come on the days that we're open. We offer yearly memberships and also daily fees, and we really try and keep all of the prices affordable so that it is something that families can do and not feel like they're breaking the bank. We have also in the past year started to do STEAM Saturdays, which is the second Saturday of every month. We do a special activity. The majority of them are free if you are a member. This Saturday we are building birdhouses, so if anybody would like to come build birdhouses, that one does cost $15 just for the supplies. We have recently in the past started reaching out and working within the schools also and partnering with them to go into the schools and offer some of our experiences, such as our Polar Express experience, and then we just did Dr. Seuss Day. And along with that, we also reach out to the high school and promote the kids to volunteer, and we've been utilizing Key Club and FFA members to come and help with the Polar Express and Dr. Seuss Day. We also have a dedicated crafting with Lou time that once a week there is a dedicated craft that is done, and that's free of charge with the admission. We employ 2 people. We have a manager and an assistant manager, and then we also have,
We have a volunteer who comes through the Ideal program at the high school, and so she gets job experience, hands-on activities working with kiddos, just getting her ready to enter the workforce. So we're partnering with the Ideal program at the high school to provide that for older students as well.
And we just recently got a new exhibit from a grant with the Lower Wind River Conservation District that utilizes sand and a program to show how erosion works. Was that my 4 minutes?
That's 5.
Oh, sorry. Actually, that's the last thing on my list, I promise.
That's okay.
So that is Cats in a nutshell.
That's great. Tell me, this exhibit, I've seen that, and my kids have spent a lot of time playing in the sand over there. How much was that grant for? I was impressed with that.
So the total exhibit cost was about $8,000, and the grant covered half.
Wow.
Footed the other.
So we paid the other $4,000, but it is probably one of the favorite exhibits right now with kids of all ages.
I was gonna say, I say my kids messed with it. I did too. I'm not gonna lie.
If you haven't seen it and you have a moment to stop in sometime, it is really awesome. And it's actually, that particular exhibit is one that the university also has, and I think they have one at Sinks Canyon.
Yep.
That it's the same model that we have. So we were very lucky to get that grant from Lower Wind River Conservation District.
And we're trying to increase the age range for our exhibit, so it's not just super early elementary kiddos. There's more for older siblings as well, and that's done a good job with that.
Right, I agree. Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate you coming in. All right, CDS, Child Development Services of Fremont County. Advantage of having a name that starts with C, I guess.
Yes, every time. I'm always second or third. It's always a nice thing. Thank you for having us again. I'm going to try and get their stuff off the screen.
For people who are watching or that are in the audience, could you tell everyone your name?
Yes, my name's Courtney Hill. I'm the Executive Director for Child Development Services in Fremont County. If I'm not loud enough, I can turn around. Here's my teacher voice. So I'm here today just to share a little bit about CDS as well as coming back to you guys regarding funding for our programs here. As you heard Representative Salazar say, we did get some increased funding for preschools across the state that will go into effect in 2025. But I always like to point out, because it sounds funny when they say fully funding preschools. They fully funded the budget item. They're only funding special education services for preschool children. I like the community to be able to hear that because it isn't fully funding preschool. All right, we'll see if we can get this done. I just unplugged somebody. Plugged myself in. Who did I unplug? Nobody? Okay. Maybe. There we go. And, all right, I'll just scroll down because it's not showing correctly. Anyway, so for those of you who don't know, Child Development Services, we have been part of the community for the last 45 years. We're finishing up our 45th year, which is exciting. I do know this because it's the same year I was born, so it's real easy for me to keep track of that age. We serve all of our families here in Fremont County, birth to 5 years old, who have a developmental disability. What's interesting is this past year in January, they extended our services to include some at-risk services for children at birth. So we're starting to go into the hospitals, provide services for young babies and moms who are just having their children. And whether they're a first-time mom, we can provide services, or if there are other things like plans of safe care, including children born with substances in their system, we're starting those services right there in the hospital. We're excited that we are starting to birth babies again in Lander, and we're not flying all of our children out. So we're expanding a little bit of our services there. Early intervention is our bread and butter. We believe the sooner we can screen and provide services to children, we can get them more ready for school and facilitate that learning as they go through and into the K-12 system, and then be those successful members of our community. We serve children not just birth to 3 in homes and in child cares, but we also serve children 3 to 5, both in local preschools, in our own preschool, and in the school district preschools. We have pace setters alongside our children with disabilities who are exceptional learners. Those pace setters are typically developing children, both in outreach preschools, in those school district preschools as well as in ours. So we serve children of all abilities, even though that preschool funding is just for students with disabilities. In 2022, we were able to expand our services to include a childcare or a preschool program for birth to 3 in our Lander Center that was funded through the LIFT grant, and we've been able to sustain that over the last 2 years with that initial funding. We're hoping to secure some funds to expand our Riverton services. We still are in what they call a childcare desert or a crisis in Fremont County. Only 1/3 of our children find placements. Some of that is family driven. So they're either choosing to keep their children at home or they cannot afford to pay for the public preschools. And so we're trying to see how we can provide those services additionally here. We'd like to expand CDS into childcare. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a second. But we'd also like to extend our hours. We'd like to expand to 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. to provide that wraparound care as well as year-round. So we'd really like to be that wraparound center here. We know that there are some programs that do offer some of this in county. And we did come to one of the EDGE meetings and we asked for some funding regarding the purchase of a preschool to help with this. Unfortunately, it was not fiscally responsible for us to do that. So we are trying to work within our system, expand within our own facility. So we have opened summer programming for this summer. We are advertising our extended hours and we are adding the childcare here in town. We take DFS subsidies, both tribal and local DFS subsidies, to help with that cost. We also provide a tuition assistance program where it's income-based within our program. It's something we do ourselves. We have received some funding from the commissioners to offset some of that funding or some of that tuition prices, but we still are in need. 25% of what we need is unfunded. So what we would like to do, our cost of the program expansion is $187,200. We are asking at this time for those things, we're asking for 50% of that. And we're doing it at a 50% capacity. We are looking at trying to do bring in revenue, but also have longevity. So we need some upfront cost to create an environment for infants, because we currently don't have one here in Riverton. We'd like to expand those hours, which means we're going to have to start shift work, where some people come in early and some late. They're not providing services to our general ed preschool. And so it's a one-time setup cost of about $20,000. We're looking at adding 2 to 4 positions depending upon enrollment. We're looking at that with 50% capacity. We'd be asking for $67,000 on a 9-month basis, or if we were able to do the 12-month, it'd be $90,000. There is a plan, it's all in the request that I sent into you. Just as I close, reminder that we are state and federal funded. We've won that grant for the last 45 years. It is a application. We do have to apply for it every year, every 2 years. But it only provides services for children with disabilities and only 75% of the cost of that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Do we have any questions? I guess wanted to be sure. Okay, so you're not planning on purchasing the preschool. That was part of what was discussed at an EDGE meeting a month or so ago. But at this point, just wanting to expand your services. Would this be, are you looking for this as a one-time thing, or would you want to be having the same amount of funding yearly?
In our revenue and longevity, we're looking at a one-time cost so that once that's done up front, we build the capacity within ourselves by getting more children into our program to offset that cost in the future. We also know that in the 2025, 2026, we won't be having to shift funds from other places because the state did increase the per pupil amount to cover more. But that, again, is not until the fall of 2025.
Right, thank you. Anything else? Thank you, Mrs. Hill, appreciate you.
Thank you. I don't know if it'll work.
All right, moving right along, Eagles Hope Transition Center.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Widmer, and I'm the director of Eagles Hope Transitions, and I have some of my favorite people with me. So I'm going to have them come up, say their names, and then I will continue.
I'm Shannon.
I'm Devin. I've been an employee with Eagles Hope for 4 years now.
I'm Lenny, and I'm a resident at Eagles Hope. Been there about 14 months.
This never gets easier. My nerves just go crazy every time I'm up here. So I want to talk a little bit about the beginning. A young homeless man was a gentle soul, captured the hearts of local community members in 2013. He was one of the locals that lived in the park. He decided that he wanted to make a difference. He wanted to change his life, and he wanted a new beginning. So he went through a treatment center in Sheridan, and he got the tools that he needed to be able to learn a new way of life, and he wanted to be successful. Unfortunately, he did not have a place to go home to when he was released from treatment. So he went back into the environment he knew, and ultimately he froze to death. His name was Dana Eagle. So Eagle's Hope is the story of Dana Eagle to be able to provide a place for individuals that need transitional housing, that need that start over. We represent those that want to make a change, that want to better their lives, and that want to be productive citizens in Fremont County, in Riverton specifically. Our mission at Eagles Hope, we are faith-based, nonprofit, providing the opportunity for Fremont residents to create and build new lives in order to transition back to their families and communities. Residents acquire knowledge, skills, and guidance to access and utilize available services to become healthy, productive members of Fremont County. Eagles Hope Transitions provides a safe and sober living environment that allows all patrons to maintain dignity, respect, and develop long-term personal and financial stability. So we chunk that down, and the main goal is to become productive members of the community by providing job readiness skills, life skills, parenting classes, and support sobriety. Residents sign strict housing policies, which include zero tolerance drugs and alcohol, a curfew, and no visitors. Individuals who seek our services want to better themselves and their families. We provide a safe and sober environment for them to do so. We have 16 livable rooms. We are currently working with 2 young ladies to work with them to give them the life skills, the job readiness skills, so that they can go out and get a job. This is the first time that they've been on their own. We have 10 individuals that are working, and we have 3 ladies that are over 70 years old. The longer an individual stays, the more successful they are to transition and become self-sustainable. We provide follow-up services for 2 years after completion of the program. I want to talk a little bit about the Eagles Hope structure. I have 2 employees, Devin and Shannon. Both of them were residents. They have successfully reunited with their daughter, got their driver's license, both acquired jobs, saved money, bought a vehicle, continued to save, and successfully moved into their own place and are productive members of the community. And they are also my 2 employees. And I am the director, and I work for a board of directors. October 1st, we lost funding, and it wasn't just us. I want to make it clear that all the nonprofits that were getting community service block grant funding lost it. And that changed how we were getting our funding. So now we have to find funding elsewhere. So I have been attending a grant funding summit this week. We are putting on a fundraiser April 13th, which is Saturday. Our residents pay rent depending on the size of their room. The grant that we had last year helps subsidize the resident fees. And in your packets was attached a spreadsheet of approximately what it costs to house an individual per month, which is about, to be approximate, it's $1,033.26. But, we round, which fluctuates depending on the utilities during that month. We are seeking other funding sources, but are dependent on community donations, fundraisers, and the help from the City of Riverton and Fremont County Commissioners. Our partnerships. We partner and work with Fremont Counseling, Fremont County Alliance Against Sexual and Domestic Assault, Sage West, School District 25, White Buffalo, the CAS program, which is the court-assisted supervised treatment, probation and parole, and the Riverton One-Stop Help Center, just to name a few. I really believe that my people, they are people. But when you're looking for grants want numbers. So I have the numbers, but I really want to reiterate that they're people. So in 2023, we served 214 families in Fremont County. We served 50 on-site, served 164 families off-site with food and homeless prevention. And this included 44,806 services. 30% are Caucasian and 70% are Native American. Our success rate has been 56%, but one question that I've been getting recently is, what is your recidivism rate? So I've looked into that, and in the last 6 years, we've had 16 that have recidivated, that have come back into the program. So that's 3%. They don't always make it the first time. The second time, they're more successful. The longer you stay, the more successful you are. Eagles Hope, you can stay there for up to 2 years. Currently, 53% of my residents are in recovery. 46% have no addiction. 67% have a diagnosed mental illness. 33% have no diagnosed mental illness. And 55% are dual diagnosed addiction and mental health. So the amount that I'm requesting is $55,000. This money will be used to go towards our utilities and our property insurance. Our insurance last year, or that I paid in November was $15,143 annually. We paid $40,147.26 in utilities for 2023. So the amount I'm requesting is $55 to go to property insurance and our utilities.
$55,000, right? Not 55.
Yes, 55,000. Thank you.
I thought you were making our job really easy.
Sorry, wish.
Well, thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it. And I completely forgot to set my timer, so.
That's okay. I'm
Might
sorry I
have
went
gone
over.
5 minutes, I have no idea. Any questions or anything for Eagles Hope?
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
All right, next up is Injury Prevention Resources. And Mr. Cooper, you can bet I will be timing you.
I am, famously not long-winded, let me tell you what. First off, thank you, Mayor Hancock, council members. Can you hear me all right? I'm always famously loud too, so I want to make sure I'm not too booming through here. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come present, talk about our programs a bit. Thank you for continued support that we've received from the city of Riverton over the years. Always good to see familiar faces and new ones, and great to hear about some of the projects and the things that this town does and the people in this town does. For those who don't know who I am, Noel Cooper. I am the Executive Director of Injury Prevention Resources, and we are a 501c3 that is dedicated to saving lives on Wyoming roads. And we do that through, housed here in Riverton, over at North Broadway, and we are able to save a lot of lives and hopefully change a lot of behaviors through a multitude of programs. Really, the biggest principles we run on, as most of you already know, but for those who don't know in the galleys here, we do the principles of wear a seatbelt all the time, don't drive impaired, don't drive distracted, and make sure your kiddos are in car seats properly. We know those 4 things alone can really make a big difference on the amount of people that are either seriously injured or lose their lives on our roads. We also dabble a little bit into some pedestrian safety, bicycle safety ends with helmets and different type of activities that'll keep them safe going in and out of schools. So again, thank you for the opportunity. I think the big thing we really wanted to showcase this year was some of the stuff that is a little off from what I have talked about the last years. I think most people here have seen the crashed cars all around and probably been, hounded by me for a conversation about being safe on our roads. And so I wanted to really showcase too the ability that we have to be able to take some of our funding and bring it into our community through different programs, including advertising and venue space at events. And we really were able to hone that in a little better last year. So we gave nearly $20,000 to local sports associations, whether it's youth soccer, Legion Baseball, Little League, and then also to Riverton Police Department, City of Riverton, Fremont County Fair, Fremont County School District. And it's all in that sake of trying to make our message at the forefront of the different events that happen throughout town. And so we've been grateful that we've kind of really been able to hone that process in and be a help to these programs around the town as well while getting our message out. And that part has been really fantastic over the years, and we continue to do that and plan to continue to do it again through this year. I know next week, I'm hoping, if not this week, to be able to meet with Chief Hurtado regarding being a primary sponsor for the National Night Out event, which is also going to be an ability for us to hopefully shift some of that money towards getting our message very visible in the public eye. So lastly, I think the thing that we don't talk about as often is our DUI probation programs and our DUI monitoring programs. They've operated for more than 15 years in Riverton, the DUI probation going back over 20. And in that time, we've had 3,599 offenders. Apparently, I don't round up. 3,600 offenders would probably be about right. that are either sentenced for DUIs or alcohol-related crimes, and they've either been in the probation program or they've been on a remote breathalyzer or an alcohol monitoring bracelet or a GPS bracelet or drug testing or drug patches. And so we've been able to make a large impact there. And the other big thing I really am grateful for the city too is our partnership and the utilization of this very room or the room right behind us, whichever, if you want to count it divided, for the adult alcohol education course. And I know that that's a program where anyone who's ordered to a DUI, or actually anyone in the public, can attend, and you hear some pretty difficult stories at times and some pretty hopeful ones as well regarding how DUIs have impacted people's lives. And so we are grateful for that partnership with the city, and yeah, just want to continue to try to make a mark and just remind people that for most of us, the most dangerous thing we do in a day is get in a vehicle. If you're doing stuff more dangerous than that, then I don't know how much we can help, but for most of us, it's getting in a vehicle. And so as much as I am asking for funding, I also just want to thank and remind our community to be safe and pay attention and care for one another.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Oh, you are very good.
Told ya.
Did you practice?
No.
And it looks like this would represent less than the ask is, I guess, about 1% of your budget.
Yes.
Most part, you're very much grant funded. Is that through the state or federal or both?
I don't devote, I'm just joking. No, Wyoming Department of Transportation, the Highway Safety Office has been absolutely fantastic. And it's a little bit of a double-edged sword because Fremont County being one of the most dangerous counties in all the United States per capita for roadway deaths, especially with alcohol. And so we're so grateful. They've been an amazing partner for so many years. And they do a great job working with us and understanding longevity of employees matters, the resource or the people, and then also understanding that we can make a difference and we have a lot of good partners that work with us. So yes, small percentage.
And then I guess because I think we've had specific requests in terms of where the amount is coming from, what would the 9,500 be going? I mean, is it just being subsumed in the budget, or is it something in particular that you're wanting this to go towards?
A lot of it is, I mean, that long list of what the grant won't cover. They'll pay for the computer, but I have to stand with it or put it on a box because they won't pay for the chair or the desk. But, some of those, I got a lot of those anecdotes. But we also do have the child car seat program, and we've really kind of tailored that down into just trying to do one event per year, but also with the support of law enforcement, Highway Patrol sheriffs, Riverton PD, Lander PD. When they need these child car seats in a bind or in a pinch, we provide them to them as well when they're on the roadside, or if we can stock up their areas, we're more than willing to do that too throughout a year. So that's typically where a lot of it will go is it's that the specialty things and then the other stuff. And as was mentioned, yeah, we took a pretty big hit on the loss of a CSBG grant as well. And so that part was tough. And, national programs, I think I mentioned State Farm made, changes to how their money's distributed through the state. So, yeah, we're still grateful, still plugging along, and hope to keep making differences. And
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Cooper.
Thank you all.
All right. Juvenile Justice Services of Fremont County.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How is everybody?
Start by telling us both of your names.
My name's Hattie Calvert. I am the Assistant Director of Juvenile Justice Services of Fremont County.
And I'm Casey Murray. I'm the Executive Director of Juvenile Justice Services of Fremont County.
All right. So Juvenile Justice Services is a two-part program. Youth Services is usually what we're known as. So I appreciate you guys not calling us Youth Services this evening. And then we also have a day reporting center, formerly known as DRC. I'll start with DRC. DRC is a detention alternative program that provides a place for educational services for court-involved juveniles that are either coming back from placement, that could be residential substance abuse treatment, mental health treatment, the Wyoming Boys School, the Wyoming Girls School. We are utilized by the Department of Family Services or the school district as a step-down facility, and they stay enrolled in their home district, most of the time School District 25, and work earning credit towards graduation requirements. They just report to our building daily, and we have a direct services provider, so we provide all their transportation to and from school, as well as transition plans back into their home district. They do community service projects in their group. It's a really cool program. We also take juveniles who are court involved who are at risk of long-term suspension and expulsion from their home district. That allows them to stay enrolled in school, like I said, report to our building to receive those educational services and keep moving towards graduation requirements. Youth services is juvenile probation, essentially. We handle all of the misdemeanor citations that come through both Riverton and Lander, Fremont County Sheriff's Department, Highway Patrol, and ironically the city of Shoshone. This last year, the city of Riverton, our Riverton office, processed 256 citations. The biggest increase in the citations that we're seeing currently, unfortunately, are drug and alcohol citations. This last year, we dealt with 91 alcohol citations and 52 drug citations. That is an increased number from previous years. Last year at this time, we had 68 alcohol citations and 47 drugs. So we are increased in those numbers, and with that comes increased costs at youth services, to provide them UA. If you have a substance charge, you need to be randomly UA'd. Those UA cups come at about $5.25 a cup. And then as well as, our big thing is we do community service projects. Everybody who comes through youth services gets a mandatory 10 hours of community service. They can add to that if they so choose. Some of them are required to do 20 hours of community service. And, we have community partners. We partner with Injury Prevention. They help us with our ankle monitoring services, as detention is not a viable option in Fremont County for most misdemeanor offenses. Eagles Hope, we send kids in order to do community service up there. Foundations for Nations, we've sent kids to the Soldiers Home, PAWS. We're sending them all over the place to help get their community service done. And I would just like to also note that at this time last year when we stood in front of you, we were not currently supervising any DUIs. That has since changed. Our office is currently supervising 5. That's a big cause for concern for our community, as kids on the road are one thing, but to be under the influence and it's a increased harm to our community as well. I think that's it.
Right. Any questions? I guess same sort of question. This would just be going into the overall budget, not towards anything particular request. Casey?
Are you just asking about, I think last year and previous years, we've been about 7 to 7.5% we've requested overall budget from the city of Riverton. Just with the number that I did, I kept our number the same ask this year as last year. And that's only 5%. That only covers 5% of our budget. So we do get funded by the county commissioners. That's because we are a county employee. So That's where our funding comes from. We also ask for funding from the city of Lander. And we also have a grant through the Community Juvenile Service Board, sorry. I was, all the C grants got me. And so we do ask for money from that every year to help fund our day reporting center and our ankle monitors, so.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
All right. Next up is mmipwindriver.org.
Good
Go ahead, if you could
evening.
Tell us your name.
My name's Nicole Wagon, and my grandson Raphael Seher's with me. And like to greet Mr. Hancock, Mayor Hancock, and all the members of the City Council and staff. My name's Nicole Wagon, and been the forefront of MMIP since it's been established with Governor Gordon of 2019. And I provided an update of the 2023 Wyoming Missing Murdered Indigenous People Task Force. 24 is being published and coming on out, as you may possibly realize that the numbers have changed with the crisis and the epidemic that is occurring in our communities and across reservation lands and in the U.S. I provided, I was going to read a letter real quick that I took from Miss Deb Holland. The missing and murdered Indigenous peoples crisis is centuries in the making and will take a focused effort and time to unravel the many threads that contribute to the alarming rates of these cases. I believe we are at an inflection point. We have a president and a government that is prioritizing this, and we can't turn back. Secretary Deb Holland. I'm not going to go into more detail about MMIP. I think I can just talk from the heart with what this means to me. I came aboard when my daughter was murdered here in the city of Riverton of 2019. Mr. Gordon personally contacted me to come and help and support the signing of the proclamation for the state. I've been on the state task force ever since 2019, advocating for victims and families here within the state of Wyoming and abroad. I have been privileged of helping other reservations find their voice and empower them of trying to make change within their own states, be active of supporting bills like I have with the Ashanti Alert, with the cold case bill, with the genealogy, DNA bill that will help solve cold cases, and working with BIA victim services, this victim services here in the city of Riverton, across our county. And also working with FBI, being that supporting them with the cold cases they recently are having on the 16th, MMIP in person that'll be held 1 to 3, community listening session with the FBI. at the Shoshone Rose Casino is hosting that endeavor, that event. It's really sad that this does exist in our communities. And to be pro-preventative, to get on that side. With the Missing Murdered Indigenous Persons movement, it affects everybody, Indigenous as well as non-Indigenous. How do we make our communities safe again? How do we stop the violence? How do we say no more? How do we stop the human trafficking, the drugs, the alcohol? I'm real adamant that I do support the law enforcement and stand behind them. That their task or their job is not easy at all. It's unfortunate, but it is a need, and grateful for their duties and what they do. Whether it be the Sheriff's Department, BIA, Highway Patrol, and our local Riverton City Police Department. With that being said, I come to you this evening. I was here last year requesting money for MMIP awareness and flags to be shown in the city. This is just a sample. MMIPWindRiver.org is, we say Wind River because we are unique. We do have a reservation, Wind River Indian Reservation, that exists of two tribes, which is Eastern Shoshone and Northern Arapaho. So with that, we're trying to, this is just a sample and a draft of MMIP Wind River to cover it all of all members of the reservation. And I requested, I believe, $3,000, and thanks to Mia Harris and Mr. Brian Eggleston helping me get this together of that request for the cost of these flags. And what came to my mind was how the FFA flags are shown in the city, the red, white, and blue, U.S. flags and whatnot, and different entities, and to bring awareness of MMIP. So just to show the audience real quick, here's the MMIP flag. And like I've said before, it's unfortunate that what happens in the city bleeds into the reservation. I've said that before. Whatever happens on the reservation does bleed into the city. And to come together and build those relationships and those partnerships of making it better. And I stand before you because I'm real adamant about that. I look at my grandson, Raphael, and it's about standing up and uniting together to make it safe for all our generations that are coming forth. So I'm real passionate about it. And I'm real grateful that our March of last year, we partnered with Fremont County Alliance and Eastern Shoshone, and this MMIP State Task Force helped us with our annual march. We've been having a march since 2019 that we hold into the city of Riverton at the park. And many donors, sponsorships have helped and assisted on our endeavor. And we always thank them from our hearts for supporting this this march for awareness to say no more.
And Ms. Wagon, when, how many flags are you wanting to purchase?
We put down into the request 50.
Okay, so would it be 50 of kind of a mix of these three, or what would be the plan with that?
It'd be 50 with all on there, some way, somehow. We're trying to,
Have the design that would encompass all three of these?
yeah, we're trying to put it together of how it would look,
Okay.
of having the red behind it and the MMIP.
Okay, I got it. So it would be a banner that would look kind of like this with all three of them,
Correct,
however that would be.
to include, yes, sir.
All right, so it'd be 50 banners, and then that was coming up to be about, I think, in the memo was about 1,400. And then the poles were about 30 each, and the attachments.
Yes, sir,
So that's where it comes up to be about 3,000.
yes.
Okay. And then your status right now, you're trying to get 501c3 designation, but not yet.
Yes, we're working towards it. Right now, we are partnered with Riverton Peace Missions. They are a 501, and helping us to receive donations and to help us work towards being an organization of a 501(c)(3). Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, are there any other questions? I'm not trying to cut you off too much. If you had something else to add, I'm just trying to.
I just wanted to show one of the symbols that everybody does use across the nation of they usually use a red hand or a black hand across their mouth. And what we're saying is, as victims, to give the victims and families a voice back and to tell their stories of their loved ones and to have their loved ones found. My heart goes out to them. I can't even imagine. Not only that, of taking the families seriously of when they file for their person being missing. Give them the benefit of the doubt. And not only that, of this is real. This is, unfortunately, the reason why we're so, how we need to come together. My point is, reading the news lately of saying, okay, I don't want people to have this fall on deaf ears and say, oh, another one has been murdered. No, that's not okay. This behavior is not okay. So to stand up and to stand together of working with one another and to help have our community members feel safe again. So with that being said, I just want to close with working with Ms. Kara Chambers and Emily Grant. Sarah Robinson is one of the co-coordinators, and right now we've been having MMIP planning for the march weekly and to get bigger and better for this organization. And I'm blessed that I've been a part of the state level, tribal level, and city level of making that difference of others. I don't ever want anybody to feel my pain. And recently, last year, I testified at the Non-Invisible Act Commission of making that difference with that testimony about my families. I am proud to say that we do have a MMIU unit here now. So something that has always come out of any kind of testimony, but of making that difference. So with that being said, I'd like to close with Wyoming is home to 13,000 indigenous people, slightly more than 2% of the state's total population. In Wyoming, more than 61% of indigenous people live in Fremont County, 61%, either on or near the Wind River Indian Reservation. Despite representing a small portion of Wyoming's population, indigenous people experience violence more often than any other racial group. So those are facts. And I provided all the data, the statistics for you all. And look forward to coming here again and to give you an update with the 24. And I'm really proud that I want to share with you guys that we have been leading and breaking trail for others. Recently, the state of Washington has asked, how do they do this to get this data with their state? How do they implement a red alert? Working with different other states are just now developing a state task force, MMIP state task force. So it's really neat that they're coming to us for help as well. So I'd like to close with that and thank you all and
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Nicole, I just want to ask you about the march, when it will be, and how people can get involved.
It's March 5th, May 5th, sorry, March, excuse me, and May 5th annually. We're going to have it, I believe we put down 11 to 3, and anybody can go onto our website, mmipwindriver.org. We have all the information on there. We've been asking people to help. We've been hitting the ground with donations right now. We're halfway there to provide for our march. And give us a call, reach out to us, email us how they can help support, come march with us, come walk with us. And we're going to meet up at the top of Tompkins, the old stadium that's unfortunately being demolished right now. So anyhow, from there to make a statement, go straight on down into the park. And what we plan on this year is having the victims and families, if they can't speak, we got to accept where they're at on their journey. It's traumatic. It's not easy to be a public speaker, to tell about their cases, and to have a lot of people with information that people don't realize that exists in Fremont County, which is White Buffalo, all the advocates, city advocates, victims advocates, and FBI, BIA, to have information there, what's available to them. And we're calling out for dancers for a healing. Really grateful that people embrace our culture, and our hope is to have a jingle dress, dancers dance around the circle for a healing as well. So
Thanks for the information.
I appreciate that and
We have it in the calendar.
asking. So
Thank you.
Mr. Hancock.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you all.
All right. We're probably pretty close to a break. What I'd like to do, though, because we've already lost a couple of our Special Olympians, is let's go to Special Olympics Riverton next. And then after that, we'll take a 5-minute break and we'll pick up where we left off with PAWS.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
They have done so well this evening, sitting here, being quiet and everything.
I noticed. Thank you guys, I really appreciate it.
I'm Lori Sanders. I am the local coordinator for Special Olympics Riverton. Special Olympics Riverton has been around for close to 30 years. We started in 1997 with 3 athletes. We provide athletic training to athletes with cognitive disabilities from the age 8 years until the end of life. Our youngest athlete this year is 11, and our oldest athlete is 73, and we have every age in between. We serve over 50 athletes. We also have 9 unified partners. If you're not familiar with what that is, a traditional athlete is somebody with a cognitive disability, and a unified partner is a person who does not. So my son is Dylan, and he has autism, and his sister Eliana does not have a disability, and they unify together, and they compete together. So we have 9 unified partners this year. We provide training for basketball, cheer, swimming, bowling, soccer, snowshoeing, track and field, softball, and bocce ball. And that goes all the way through the year. We're currently in the middle of our spring session. Well, the state calls it the summer session, but we're really in the springtime. But, and that is basketball, track, swimming, and cheer. And we actually go to area games next Friday and state games in the first part of May. Not only do we provide athletic training and keep athletes busy, but they also have the opportunity to create lifelong friendships by competing alongside others just like themselves. Many of the athletes have friends from all over the state because they are able to see them a few times a year when we travel for state competition. The state competition in May is in Gillette, and that is all athletes in all Special Olympics will be in Gillette for 3 days, and they will compete against each other. The cool thing about what the state does is they offer a banquet, and that banquet allows for them to get together with their friends, and they get to dance and have good food and just have a blast. And a lot of these athletes have social medias, so then they make connections with their friends, and they are able to communicate with them and have their friends across the state. In the fall, they go to Casper for bowling, and we do the exact same thing. And then in the wintertime, they went up to Jackson for our winter games. We have numerous athletes that have competed in USA Games and World Games all over the globe. We have athletes that have been a part of Riverton Special Olympics since its inception, almost 30 years ago. These athletes come from, These athletes are some of the best humans on the planet. Not only do they compete against each other, but at the finish line, they always congratulate and cheer each other on. So it's not just about winning, it's about being friends and encouraging everybody else. Our athlete abilities range from beginning bouncing of a basketball all the way to carrying the torch across the world. Our most recent athlete went to Germany last summer carrying the torch, and he's here tonight. So, He got to go to Germany, and he also took another one of our. There's another athlete that we sent from Riverton, Luke Bappy, and he went for I believe running for track. So yeah, we've had numerous athletes that have done that. We believe in every athlete that comes through our program, and we are better because of them. Their love of the games and each other astounds every person who volunteers. If you've ever volunteered for Special Olympics, and you've known, because a lot of these people are on the exact same board that I went to a couple months ago, I'm very passionate about Special Olympics. These people behind me are the best humans on the planet, and our country and our world would be better if we could just adopt their life, their ability to see people how they are and love people where they're at. We are asking for your help in filling some of the financial gaps. Special Olympics Riverton fundraises multiple times a year. We just finished our 2024 steak dinner, where we raised $21,000, which is the most we've ever raised. And then we also, shortly after that, did the jackalope jump, where we raised over $10,000. Our team got about $7,500 of that. The money that we raise every year goes to compete, and it also goes to train these athletes. It's not cheap to rent the bowling alley and have 2 bowling sessions a season, and so and getting these athletes to, we have 50 athletes, so and 9 unified partners plus the chaperones to care for these individuals. So we have to rent buses, and we have to get hotel rooms and all of those things to participate. So the money that we would get from you would help for that. It would allow us to continue to train and participate in area and state games in the different seasons for the rest of the year. We would utilize the funds to purchase some much needed equipment and pay for the facilities, rentals to train, hotels, and traveling fees and assessment fees to compete. With that, I just asked if there's any questions.
Any questions? Are we losing all of our firefighters? You got it, Jesse?
Sounded like there was a fire. Yep, pretty much.
Thank
all
you,
right.
Mrs. Sanders.
Yep.
Appreciate all your hard work, and appreciate your presentation for us. And I guess this is just in terms of where you would want this to go. This would be specifically for equipment and for like hotel fees, that kind of thing. You don't have any paid staff?
No, we are 100% volunteer ran. I am a volunteer. So are all of our coaches. When we have chaperones, we combine providers through the community health based community. No. That's one of them. But we have some programs. So we have community entry services, Simply Supports. Those are both the two main day programs in town. And then there's individual providers through the home and community-based services. That was the word I was trying to find. That help take care of the medical needs of a lot of our athletes. And so they are paid through those programs. But as far as Special Olympics is concerned, we're all volunteer run. They're volunteer athletes and they're volunteers to participate and take care of it. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's where the money
Real
would
quick,
go.
before you guys wrap up, could we just have all the Special Olympians stand up, please?
The Special Olympics has come up with an idea to become mascot for us.
Oh, yes. We just this evening have voted for a mascot. We are now the, what? Do you remember?
No.
The Nighthawks.
Nighthawks.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you for letting us know about
Purple
that.
Nighthawks.
Ethan. Perfect.
Thank you guys so much.
All right, so we will take, is 5 minutes enough? Do we want to do 5, 10, 5? Let's do a 5-minute recess. We'll come back at 8:46. Before you get started,
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Jesse Cassidy. I'm the Assistant Fire Chief, the Riverton Volunteer Fire Department. Well, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, thanks for the opportunity to be here today to request some additional funding. Just a couple numbers real quick. Last year, the Riverton Fire Department responded to 326 alarms throughout the entire year in the city of Riverton and our surrounding fire district. That equates to thousands of man-hours on scene and in training and maintenance of equipment. And we are entirely volunteer. We have 0 paid staff at the Riverton Fire Department. So these guys put in a lot of time and a lot of effort. This last year to date, as of the 8th of April, we had 68 alarms with 1 in April. This year, we've had 85 alarms with 7 in the month of April. So we're already ahead. Last year was a busy year, and this one looks like it's going to turn out to be the same. So our funding request is the same as it was last year and in years past. We're requesting $5,000 to be broken up as follows. None of this money will go into the general fund of the Riverton Fire Department. We're asking for $2,000 to be placed in our benevolent fund. This account is used to directly help Riverton volunteer firemen in need in the event of medical emergency or a death in the family. $2,000 will be placed in our profit reserve account. We use that account for projects that directly benefit the members of the fire department, and it has to be voted on by the membership for that money to be spent, such as buying jackets, sweatshirts, hats, or other projects. And the last $1,000 will be placed into our mutual aid account. The mutual aid fund is an account that spans the entire state, and volunteer firemen pay dues into that account. In Riverton, we have a proud history that we pay all of our firemen's dues for them. When that member passes away, that mutual aid benefit will be paid to their spouse. So that $1,000 will just help keep that account solvent. That really concludes what I have to say here today. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
No, what we want to say is thank you.
Thanks for all you do.
Jesse, I will tell you something real quick. There's an exemption specifically for jurors who are firefighters, but only if they're paid.
Right.
Yep. And I think it's interesting because I prosecute a lot of jury trials, and it's always interesting when we bring that up and basically the judge says that's not going to apply to anyone because we're all volunteer for our fire departments here in the area. So I really appreciate what you all do. You make a huge difference for the community, and that can be demonstrated very easily with the fact that you're left here holding the bag while everybody else is off responding.
Everybody else is headed to a grass fire at the moment, so, which is where I'm headed after this.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming, and I appreciate you presenting.
Absolutely.
Be safe.
Appreciate it.
All right, Pam, just so you don't think you're being mistreated, and let's do Pause for Life next. I can sometimes read a room, and with the fact that there were a lot of people that were starting to leave from the Special Olympics group, I thought it'd make sense to let them have a chance. And then when the firefighters decided to leave.
Well, good evening. I'm Pamela Canham. I am the board chairman for Paws for Life Animal League. And first and foremost, I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor, and all the council members and the admin staff who are staying so late for hearing us out, for your support over the years. This will be our 20th year running the animal shelter for the city of Riverton. And we couldn't do it without you. We so appreciate you. So thank you so much. This is our new shelter manager, Whitney Fonts, and we hired her in January. Yep. And she has been doing an amazing job. Whitney's background, she was a lead vet tech for the Stock Dock for over 9 years. So this lady knows her animals.
And I've been a vet tech for 15 years total.
Oh. And yeah, I could go on and on about all the wonderful things she's done in just the few months that she's been there. If you have not been down to the shelter lately, please go. It has been transformed into an absolutely wonderful place to walk into, thanks to this lady and all her hard work.
Trying.
And you are succeeding. I am going to ask Whitney to please pass these out to the council members. It's sort of an addendum to our funding request. It'll give you a breakdown and detail of all our needs for this year. We are asking for additional funding over and above what we normally receive from the city because of these needs. We have, at the beginning of it, our absolute needs, and then it goes down to the wish list.
I missed one.
Yeah. But our building is 20 years old, as you well know, because it's the city's building. And it is in need of a little TLC, or a lot of TLC. I actually, Whitney handed this to me. We received an email today from Michael Miller. Yeah, we have been working with him regarding our roof, which leaks horribly. And so there are 2 quotes that we have gotten, one for, put on the glasses here.
$4,285.
And $4,375. We're waiting on a 3rd quote. With the arrangement that we have with the city, we would be responsible for half of that. I'm not sure if there is insurance that could play into this or not. That's something that I'd have to talk to Mr. Butterfield about. A new roof is just one of the things. We are in dire need of new outdoor kennels. They are 20 years old. They are coming apart because they have very rambunctious, residents in them, some of whom are capable of climbing up and out and over. But we also need repair on our indoor kennels. We need drainage in our outdoor area,
Which is also in the works, thanks to Mike.
Yes. Mike is helping us with that. There is no drainage out there, so when it snows and the water and the snow melts, it is a lake out there, and It's not the kind of lake water you want to be in, trust me. We also need better drainage within the shelter in the kennel area. All of these things obviously cost money. We need a hot water heater in the back of the building. In addition to, we are replacing the hot water heater that we currently have because it is a residential water heater and we need a commercial one. So all of these are expenses that will not be yearly. You know, they are hopefully one-off for a while, which is why we're asking for additional funding. We, already 5 minutes?
I know, it goes fast.
Oh my gosh, okay.
All right, the rest real fast.
Real fast, okay. We have had such an increase, not only in adoptions, thanks to this lady, but also volunteers. And I'm going to read really quickly our community partners, supporters, you name it. We've got High Mountain Seasonings, WYO Today, Wind River Casino, Golden Buffalo, Walmart, Stotts, Murdoch's, First Interstate, CES, every single school in Riverton, private and public, the Church of Christ in Gas Hills, CWC women's volleyball and basketball teams, Key Club, Boys and Girls Club. So you can tell how many volunteer hours we get. These people are down there, especially the Key Clubbers. Oh my gosh, they're amazing. I also want to point out that PAWS won the Bob Award this year for the best fundraiser in Fremont County, which is Paws and Pearls. So we are in year 18 of this, and we are so grateful for the support. I also have to point out that little Ava Bailey has decided this year that for her birthday, rather than getting presents or having the traditional birthday party, she's having her party at the shelter on Saturday. And she is asking everybody to bring dog food or treats or donations in lieu of presents.
That's this Saturday, 10 to 1?
Yes. If anyone wants to come, we are also, got to plug, I mean, because as all of you know, we fundraise year-round because unfortunately we don't qualify for state or federal grants, although we do have grant applications in. We are doing a fundraiser concert, CWC, Peck Theater, April 27th, almost Elton John. And if you have not attended, you need to, because it is amazing. So there you go. Any questions?
Any questions? All right, so one more time, Ava Bailey, Saturday,
10 to 1.
a.m., birthday party.
Birthday
Is
party.
there cake for people?
We may be able to arrange that.
Yeah.
Okay. Just curious if you're going to invite people to a birthday party.
Yeah. I'm sure her mom will make sure that there's cake.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, moving along, our rec.
Just for the record, next year R is going to be spelled A-R-E. Right?
That could work.
That could work.
You're the first of the R ones, though.
I know, I was not strategic, but that is brilliant. I'm Mary Axum.
And I'm Addie Thomas.
We want to thank you guys first for your generous support every year for the recreation programs in our community. It's such an honor. And we recognize the fiduciary responsibilities that you guys have to our community, and just looking at who's here tonight, amazing. What an amazing community. Our mission, we're going to be fast. My goal is to be faster than Noel. So our mission is, through our mission is to strengthen our community and enrich the lives of all residents. And through our mission, we're able to be a proactive piece to the socioeconomic challenges that we have. We are a quality of life component, and we get to promote the positive aspects of our community. And that just makes every day so much fun.
So this bar graph is a representation of the people that we've served and the ages that they were in throughout this past year. As you can see, we really have a focus on youth, and we're very proud of our youth programs, but most importantly, we're also proud of how we serve everyone in the community from 1 to 83. We're very proud that there's something for everyone here.
You've not had anyone older than 83?
Last year we didn't. This year we are up to 92. So, yeah, next year will be fun.
We'll report on that next year.
Right, good.
And then for those numbers, these previous numbers, those are just ones that were in our website registration. And then these programs that we have are just some of the ones that we have that don't require registration as well. So our bingo, movies in the park, you can see. And then we also have, which our goal for all of those was to increase community events for families specifically, which we really honed in on with open gym, community tailgate party, and things like that. And then other programs that we just volunteer for, like our trunk or treat. And I don't know if you can see that photo very well, but we never do anything halfway. We have to go hard in everything we do. So this year we did a pirate theme, and it was very over the top and extravagant. And then also we like to do the scorekeeping and things like that on Saturdays as well, just to volunteer our time.
Yeah, so the registrations that we take online, plus all of the community things that we do, we've estimated that we serve approximately 4,800 community members, which is up 200 if you guys were keeping track from last year. And we attribute that to our community events that we've been able to engage in. We do, of course, and we had over 224 different classes. And when you look at recreation across the state, I guarantee you nobody has 224 classes with the variety that we have. We're very proud of that. Next slide. Is you.
So this is what's new in our world. We have, as you can see, a whole bunch of new things that we've come up with in the past year. We're always trying to come up with new programs, at least 3 each season, when we have 3 seasons total of brochures. And yeah, like I said, as you can see the wide variety. We have a toddler treasure hunt up to a Medicare series. So we're trying to find something for everyone.
And I hope you noticed we did a youth horse riding camp at the new equine center, and that was spectacular. That was the first of many that we have scheduled throughout the summer. So we're really excited to have that partner, particularly that they received some EDGE funding, and that was part of their EDGE agreement. So just quick history for you guys. In 2006, the city of Riverton funded the recreation department, and it was a line item in your budget for over $300,000 at that time. For a variety of reasons, it failed, and then in 2008, our recreation was created and contracted, and at that time, we were funded at $145,000. So last year, we have the amount up there that we received. We're asking that same amount again this year, and we're very proud of what we are able, just the two of us, to offer to our community. And we're maxed out with what we can physically do, but we're just it's such an honor and such a privilege to be able to bring the cool stuff to our community.
And fun.
And fun. Partnerships, of course, the big question is, why does Riverton not have a recreation center? And the only reason we're able to have the variety that we do is the partnerships that we have, and they're very valuable to us. So that we just made a quick list of them. We won't read them. This is all in your packet, so you guys can look at it at your leisure. Leisure? Do you guys have leisure time?
And then we also won't read over all of these, but we just love to read what the community has to say, and we're just proud of what the people are saying about us and what we can bring to the city.
So thank you, guys. We were created by the city for the city, and so we are grateful for your support. And keep in mind that you are our governing agency. We do not have another funder for our program. And the budget I want to mention that you see is the actual budget numbers that I submit to the CWC business office. Nothing is padded. Those are our numbers that we send to the business office and operate on. And so we're always considering, where do we go from here? How do we stay relevant? How do we stay fun? How do we stay interesting? And we're always looking for feedback, always. If anybody in the community has a class or a talent they want to share, we'll offer that class. Feedback from you guys, we're always open to that. And Addie, being a young adult that moved here, is particularly sensitive to hear that there is, when people say there's nothing to do in Riverton.
Especially moving from Big Piney, Wyoming, where there's actually nothing to do. Yeah, no, we just want to make this community something where there's literally always something to do, even without the rec center or things like that.
So thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I had a-
Did we beat Noel?
You know, so you know how I was teasing Noel and saying I was going to start the timer for him, and I did, and it went off. I forgot to set it for you. I was keeping notes, so
We were
3.5 minutes?
you probably didn't. He was good. No, I'm just kidding. He was right at 5. He did.
We're sort of disappointed you don't list city council as a recreational activity, but
That one, one of our evening obligations.
You're one of our partners.
Are you? I haven't gone to one of the family bingo nights yet. Are you using that as a fundraiser as well? Is that part of what you're doing?
Not a fundraiser for us.
Okay.
It's a fundraiser for our community. So the winner, this was Addie's idea. I had never played bingo in my life. I was like, could that be fun? So we play music, we do themes. I mean, it is a fun hour, 2 hours, about 2 hours.
Yeah.
The winner takes home half of a portion of the pot and donates to a charity of their choice the remainder of the pot. So we don't make any money off of it. Actually, if you buy a $2 dauber, we make $2 per dauber.
Yeah.
But
No, that's a fun one. We really recommend
tell
that
them
one.
our highest numbers.
So 2 months ago, I believe, we had a winner that took home, I want to say about $500, and then they donated to their charity of their choice. I think 200 and something, somewhere in there. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I feel like 500 could be significant, so.
Yeah.
April 25th, I think, is the next one. It's beach themed, so it's a good time.
All right. Well, thank you. Any other questions? Sorry, that was mine.
Thank you.
Not a question, but I did realize I stole some ice skates from you, so I will get with you to get those back. We were in another room at the build, so
Well, thank you.
I'll text you. Yeah.
So before you call the police.
Yeah. You count
And
them.
our inventory missing?
Yeah. I have like 6 pairs.
It's a mouse.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you
Appreciate you.
very much.
All right. Riverton Chamber of Commerce.
Like try to get this done.
All right, guys. Well, I'm James Bunker, the president of the Riverton Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Center.
I'm Victor Allen. I'm the treasurer for the Visitor Center and not the technology person.
And we've got a couple more members here in the back supporting us. Terry, Morgan, Kathy, and Julie.
Can you stand up so we can see you there? Awesome. Thank you. And these are all board members, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Thank you for coming. Sorry that you're farther down on the list than you probably would like.
Hey, totally fine. Everything that we've listened to tonight was awesome.
Maybe next year we'll go reverse order,
I,
just to mix it up.
either way is fine. No, I think it was good.
Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having us here tonight, presenting to you guys. We want to get into sort of what we do. The Riverton Chamber of Commerce has been the city's most important resource in maintaining a healthy economic environment. For the city, we actually wear 2 hats. One of a traditional Chamber of Commerce focused on day-to-day needs of business growth, but also as the city's primary advocate and marketer for tourism. Today's contract for services proposal focuses on our traditional role as business development. You guys are all pretty well versed on the interdependency and crucial nature of the elements required to build and maintain a healthy economy. As a city council member, you know the vital importance of a healthy economy on city operations, both in properties and sales tax collections, as well as the impact on city service demands. A few of these building blocks that we'd like to go over here are the new business recruitment, existing business development, innovation and entrepreneurship, education and workforce development, infrastructure development, and community and quality of life. These are the building blocks that you guys put together a couple of years back, And these are things that we're really focusing on. There's a huge push with our community group that we've started, that you guys have been with the WYOMING Business Council. And so we want to make sure that as we're going forward, you guys know that everything that we're doing works with these building blocks. We're making sure that we're doing what's right for Riverton. Moving on to our second slide here. There's two major transitions that we want to point out in the past decade. Mining and energy left our economy. There's still a little bit of it around, but everybody saw that. It pretty much took off. What happened then was we lost a lot of our workforce. We lost a lot of our, well, we lost a lot of people. We lost a lot of citizens. And we lost a lot of our assets in that. So the one big thing that impacted was the human capital, because now there's businesses that are struggling to get employees in place and make sure that they are well presented in the community and bringing that business to town. If they're not prepared with the right people in place, they can't grow. And so similarly, COVID actually did the same thing. It hit the economy really hard, but it was followed up by several major changes, and again, has affected the workforce. This has caused people to reopen different jobs, trying to create new jobs, and again, it's affected all the local businesses. We've had to rethink different positions and how they recruit people into those positions, oftentimes lowering the requirements for the job, and in both cases, these challenges have caused businesses to struggle and remain valuable to customers and profitable. On our third slide here, this is sort of a breakdown of what we do on the day-to-day. I'm not going to go through everything there. You guys can take a look at that when you've got a minute. But there's a lot there. If you look and see what we're doing day-to-day, it's a lot for one manager and one admin to do. There's about 5 months out of the year where they don't really get a focus on the day-to-day as much because there's so much tourism in town that they're focusing on that almost exclusively. It takes an active, engaged, hardworking volunteer board and the members to make this work. I want to emphasize volunteer board because for the last couple of years, we have struggled a bit. But we've got an amazing volunteer board that continues to show up with a big smile on their face, and they're putting in all the time, the effort to make sure that we're getting where we need to go. So please take a look at that because we've been very busy.
Okay, I guess this is kind of what we plan on doing this over the next year as we look at where the focus of the chamber is. So what I think historically this chamber has struggled. I mean, since Jim Davis left in 2019, there's been financial constraints at that time, and the board has continued to have, and those that have followed, we've tried to cut costs, including those related to personnel. And at a time when we were also trying to expand out into tourism development and promoting the local area for visitors. It's also with, it happened concurrently with COVID. It's kind of like musical chairs, who gets the bell here. Yeah. Okay, so along with COVID, we've just basically cut a lot of costs down, and one of the things we've struggled with then is really retention of employees. And it's so one of the things that we're asking for as we're going through in our request is some help to kind of get us back on our feet from a financial standpoint and bring in an executive director that has some experience in education in the area of working in a community oriented job like we have as the executive director. So we're asking for a level of support that's higher than what we've had. You saw on the last slide. So we're asking for a level of support this year. It may go a bit into next year until we get things stabilized and revenues back significantly in the right direction. That's our highest priority. during this upcoming year. Additionally, some of the chamber members are actively involved in a lot of these things that you see up here, trying to bring the $5.6 million ARPA funds into the city of Riverton's trails. We've got a lot of our board members with a passion for the community and trying to help make improvements there. So that's a lot of what's happening with the board as we look at it, and for the chamber to focus on that. So the contribution we're asking for this year really represents about 37% of our expected budget in the upcoming year. And I will say, we pulled this budget together. It hasn't been approved by our board yet. It has some discussions, but it's a preliminary draft based on where we see things at this point in time.
I want to end with saying thank you guys for your support. As you see, the Chamber has been doing a lot in Riverton, helping Riverton businesses, the community, and over the years, including the most recent years and some of our most challenging years, there is still so much to do. Even through the difficulties, the various people that have served on the Chamber's boards have left, the different people that have served on the Chamber's board have volunteered their time, their talent, their resources, and their energy to help Riverton's economy progress. We recognize that this is a big ask compared to in years past, but this is critical for the viability of the Chamber of Commerce. We respectfully ask you for your support of our application request in full.
Thank you. Any questions? No. I have one, I guess, kind of what I had asked CDS. It sounds to me like this is more of maybe something that wouldn't be an expectation for future years. This is kind of a one-time, little bit more money than, well, a bit more money than previously has been provided to try to get you to where you can get more self-sustainable. Is that about accurate?
I would say so. And when you look back historically, we've typically had membership fees or membership income that was somewhere 75 to 80,000 a year. We're looking at right now somewhere closer to 60, 65,000. We've budgeted for 66 for this upcoming year. So I think one of the things is getting back out and I think focusing on what is the core mission and purpose of a chamber and visitor center, and try to deliver that for our members so that there's value created there in dealing with education, networking, advocacy, and helping to bring some diversification to the local economy, not just bringing in new businesses, but how do we bring in business for our current chamber members. And so I think we're really focused on how do we create that value proposition for members, and that's going to take some financial help for us to kind of make that bridge happen.
And maybe getting the right person in as executive director, is that?
That would be a key component to it, yes, sir.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Riverton Help Center.
Do you have a presentation? I'm just going to talk. I don't. You guys have already seen that, have you not?
I think it's true. I have.
No. Okay. Okay. I'm Sue Rector, and I'm the president of the board for the Riverton Help Center. And I'm really amazed at the things that have been presented here tonight. You have a big job ahead of you. Wow, I'm very impressed. We've been around for now 11 years, but not many people know where we are. We're at the corner of Park and Fifth, and we're on the south end of the building for St. James Episcopal Church. And what we do is that we are a faith-based charitable organization, and our mission is to provide much-needed services to families and individuals who are currently experiencing homelessness and/or other life situations that create difficulties in meeting their basic needs. And for the most part, we see a lot of folks who need help with their rent and their utilities. And that desire has gone up every year because rents have gotten so high. We are seeing a lot of rent applications. Let's see. We were one of those CSBG funded folks that lost our funding, and so we have been, we've done a lot of grants, but unfortunately, the grants that we get are for service, direct services to clients. It will never cover administrative costs. And what we are wanting from you folks are the monies for us to pay our manager so that we can keep our doors open. I mean, we've got this money to give to people for help in the community, but if we can't pay a manager to be there to accept the applications, we might as well close the doors. We have a lot of volunteer help. We have people who give us food, clothing, all kinds of things for the community. And one of the things that we have also done recently is that we are now giving gas fuel vouchers and bus tickets for folks. And we have given away a lot of those. This is new, that we've only done this in the last month. Let's see. We are the sister agency to the First Stop in Lander, because they opened first and then they helped us. Whoa, I think I ruined your.
Can't believe you
I
broke
ruined
that.
your. Does it still work?
Yes.
It still works. Okay. And they helped us open up our doors. So we partner with them and they give us community support and send us clients, and we do the same for them. We have partnerships with the Eagles Hope, and I can't even think of all of our, who else do we? Lydia's Closet is in the church, and we partner with them. Let's see. And we're trying really hard to make sure that people know we're there, because it appears that sometimes people didn't even know we were there. So anyway, so we're doing more outreach in the community. The day in the park, we were there, and so people were amazed that we were there. One of the things that we do is the Red Kettle campaign, because we're also the Salvation Army unit here in Riverton. And we appreciate anybody who rang that bell for us. And we made a lot of money this last year because we had lots of help. And I appreciate that from all of you. Okay? Yes. This lady right here is Carol Chezik. She is the manager, and she's fabulous.
I like what I do.
Yes, you do.
Thank you, Carol.
And Amy Mays is on our board, and those other two ladies back there are Carol.
Can you stand up so we can see you?
Pat Storr and Stacy Dorr. Okay? All righty. We're asking for $24,000 in order to pay salary and all the taxes and the FICA and all the administrative costs that aren't being covered by the other kinds of grants that we're getting. Okey doke. That's all I can tell you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rector.
Do you have questions?
Questions?
Your Honor.
Councilwoman Cox?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Lindsay.
I just saw on how you can help that you accept donations. When are you open for people to donate?
We're open on Mondays where people can just walk in from 11 to 2. And then we are open on Tuesday and Wednesday by appointment.
But I am in the office 9 until 2, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay.
So I do allow anybody that knocks at the door to come in, answering the phones or whatever. So even though that's our hours that are posted, we're very accommodating. I don't want anybody to come to the door and ask for food or clothing or a drink or something warm, soup. We even do that sometimes if it's cold. I'll never not open the door.
Thank you.
You guys have good food, I know that.
Yes, we do. Thank you. Thank you.
Councilwoman Borders had a question.
Okay.
I
Yes,
just
ma'am.
had a question, if you have more of the brochures available. I work at DFS, and if you don't have them.
We don't have them here, but we can, there's a few of them here
I'd
that
love
Mia
to
has,
hand them out to.
and we'll be glad to bring them over.
Okay.
Okay?
We're in the
Thanks.
process of reprinting them, so we'll be getting more.
Okay.
Okay.
And we have a spot where you can put brochures as you're walking into City Hall here, and it might not be
Well,
bad to put them
probably a
there as
really good
well.
idea, yeah.
We tend to have a lot of victim witness kind of police-oriented brochures there, but I think it'd be a helpful place to put yours.
Okay, thank you.
So feel free to find a spot in there and fill it up.
All right.
And if anybody gives you grief, tell them I said you can do it.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you had a question, I think, for them.
I did. I was wondering, what kind of donations do you accept?
Because that might not have been on the mic, the question was what kind of donations they accept, and Ms. Rector said, cash. I tried to get the enunciation correct. Did I do okay? All right. Riverton Lions Club. What do we have here?
Thank you for being here, guys, ladies. I'm Dan Moline, current president of the Riverton Lions Club, and I can tell this is somewhat of an unusual out-of-the-box request from what I hear from everybody else coming up here, but from community feedback, there needs to be a bathroom at the picnic shelter on the west end of Sunset Park. There is a bathroom on the other end, about 2.5 blocks away. Very inconvenient. So we've kind of got put together a project then for our group to get this organized, and we've finally got some bids, and I've attached one there from B&M Construction. The cost was quite a bit more than what we originally anticipated, but it is what it is. And we've decided that through experience that maybe we should start with the first phase and then the second phase. And the first phase is water and sewer. It seems like a lot, but again, it is what it is. And it's about $22,000, and we're asking for $9,800 of that cost. We've contacted the other service clubs, the financial institutions, and I have an application in with the Fremont County Rec Board, and to come up with that $21,600. It's going to be a basic bathroom, 10 by 12, with the back 4 feet will hold all the utility part, and it'll be a stainless steel sink and toilet. We're hoping for concrete block with a metal roof and two, we don't have electricity to do the building, skylights. 2 skylights for lights in there, so it should be self-sufficient. And any questions? It's a pretty simple project, just trying to get it off the ground.
Any questions?
It's a great idea.
We think so. We think so. We're just trying to get it all organized.
So your proposal is to build the restroom, and I assume that you would be giving it to the city to maintain?
Yes, yes, yes. And again, this is just the first phase. I will be back if we get this completed, and probably.
We'll maintain the first phase if you maintain the second phase.
All right, we'll negotiate on that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Sure.
Riverton Little League. Little League right next to the Lions Club.
I don't know if I'm going to be as fast as that.
Okay.
I'm Devin Gonzalez. I'm the president of Riverton Little League. First off, I want to say thanks to our community. We hosted the Wyoming District 1 district tournament. It was a huge success, and there was always something to do for all the kids from Cody to Green River. They had something to do here. So, and we want to thank you guys for the past cover of our operating expenses. And we're asking the same thing, the $3,000 for our utilities and our field maintenance. Obviously, those costs were up last year because we hosted districts. We don't anticipate it to be that much, but you never know, especially when we have night games. Other than that, with whatever help the city can provide, we have an environment for everyone to partake and enjoy. Other than that, we thank you, and any questions?
Maybe we should do reverse order next year if we're gonna.
I'm still in the middle. I'd be in the middle. It don't matter.
I've been noticing that maybe we could start doing that. Thank you,
Random
Kevin.
draw.
Okay, this is, if I remember correctly, then what we had covered, this was mainly for field maintenance.
And utilities.
Utilities, that kind of thing.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay. And nobody is getting paid salary or anything? I mean, it's all volunteer?
Yeah, except for our concessions manager, we do split the profits with her. It's a woman this year.
Okay.
So that's the only, but that's a different account, and we monitor that.
And it's not as a salary, it's just you guys split it?
Yes, so whatever profits she makes, she then distributes that to her help, which are teenagers, so other people in our community, and then the other half goes to us, and we can then use that for whatever project we want to attack next.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, guys. Good night.
Good night. Thanks for sitting through it all, Devin.
Anytime.
Swim club. You were hoping, weren't you, when we did the volunteer fire department, you're like, are we going to go backwards and I could be...
I was actually thinking about giving my spot to the senior center, but you know, it was getting later and later and my kids are hopefully in bed, fingers crossed. I left Sean in charge. All right.
Well, that's...
Those of you who don't know, that's my husband. He's a CPA. Tax season, he's dead right now. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you guys this evening, this night. I'm talking to you guys on behalf of the Riverton Riptides. And there's no way we could change our name with an A. There's no A. Unless we put A swim team, that might work. We've had a fantastic season. We have exploded from 115 swimmers to 135 swimmers, which Councilwoman Cox can tell you. We were very creative this year with getting our picture done and squeezing all the bodies between two pillars in the high school. I want to thank you on behalf of our team. Your generosity last year really helped us put more sponsorships in the water, pun, for less fortunate swimmers that they could get into the water. We have quite a few foster children and also some less fortunate children that really need to get in the water and want to get into the water. I didn't introduce myself, I'm sorry. I'm Tina Jordan. I am a board member and a USA official and a swim coach and a swim mom and all the above. The vision for the Riverton Riptides has always been get bodies in the water and enjoy the sport. Water safety is at the top of the list, so the younger we can get them, the better. We had over 50 between the ages of 5 and 7. And then the bulk of our team was probably the 10 and 12-year-olds, which was really fun to see them mighty at our state meet. We are a feeder team, so we feed the middle school and the high schools, and they had a fantastic season. The high school girls, they took 10th, and they out of their team, they had 12 swimmers, and 11 of them were our swimmers. High school boys had 15, no, I gotta get this right, 16 swimmers, and out of them, 14 out of the 16 were our swimmers. We also took 4th for the high school boys at 3A and broke a school record. And they were all done by USA swimmers. We're really excited to toot that horn. Our middle school, we had 55 swimmers on the team, and 35 of them were our swimmers. We were really excited for that. And I was asked this question 2 years ago by our last mayor, can we beat Lander? The middle school girls did. Middle school girls beat them. The boys came in second, but be nice to the boys. They were a lot less in number. The girls, like I said, are mighty and big. We are really proud of what we've been able to do for the community and for our swimmers. We have increased in our number, and we have increased in our staff. The only paid staff we have are the coaches. We pay them for their knowledge and their time. They take an hour and a half. Some take 4 days a week, some do 2 days a week to coach 13 rambunctious children in the water. So we do want to make their time valuable. As you can see on our budget that I submitted, that the biggest chunk of our budget does come from coaches' wages. I believe it was $35,000. It's not in front of me right at the present. And so we have had to increase our coaching staff with the increase of swimmers, and we are asking for help with that. It has fallen on our shoulders in the coming season and the coming budget that we will be hosting not 1, but 2 swim meets. Yay! I'm meet director. Yay! So we'll be hosting our conference, which will be Cody, Powell, Warland, Lander, and us. I know, Lander just drives here, but the rest of them have to come. The last conference brought over 200 swimmers to Cody, and we project bigger numbers for when we host it in 25. We're really excited and nervous all at the same time. Our home meet brought in 207 swimmers, and our team only provided 55 of them. So we were bringing in people from Rollins and Evanston and Jackson and Casper and Powell and Cody, just people who are not normally coming are coming to our meet because they love our town, they love our team, and it's just really fun to have them there. We had people just pop up, like, we want to come to your meet's fun. So that was really exciting. And with that, we probably brought over 130 people, swimmers, and then they bring their families, and that just brings a lot of revenue into our town, and we're really excited to do that for Riverton. We also have had officials step up and parents step up in the capacity to be able to help us host these meets. So we have an administrative staff. Now, they are not paid. However, we did make a motion 2 months ago to compensate them for their time, and that was just a recent thing. That would not be in our budget that we submitted. So that would also increase our need. So we have 2 swim meets in the works and more coaching staff to get more swimmers out there in the high school, in the middle school, Boys and Girls Club. We even had a Special Olympics swimmer swimming with our team this fall. We're really proud of Riverton and put us on the map. A lot of people really enjoy our team. Do you have any questions for me?
Questions? Thank you.
We're working on beating Lander. It's in the works.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Tina. Tuck in the kids, I guess. Mind stopping by my house and make sure my kids are in bed? I'm teasing. All right, Volunteers of America.
Good evening. My name is Brad Hendry. I'm the program director over at the Center of Hope. I have with me tonight Josh Dickerman, who is a former client. Just wanted to highlight some of our program services, offer a face to the numbers. I know you've received our request and proposal, and there's a lot of numbers in there, and I want to add some personal value to that, because at the end of the day, we really are about serving people, right? We want to see that life change. Our mission statement through VOA is that we serve to harness hope to reshape futures. And that's the kind of life change that we want to see. We are the Center of Hope. We are a substance abuse program. Really, we offer 3 different levels of services for treatment. The first one being social detox. Often social detox is our first line of intake for clients. They come into social detox. They may be intoxicated currently. They may be not sure where to start with their treatment journey. We're able to help them detox off of their substance, get their applications, their evaluations, their physicals, their TBs, these items that may be really overwhelming for people to try and figure out how to even apply for inpatient treatment. And so we were able to help them with those things. The next service that we're able to provide is really that pre-treatment service, that 3.5, they've been evaluated for inpatient care. We're able to house them for a time while they wait for their bed date. I don't know if you've seen some of the wait lists from inpatient care facilities, but they can be several weeks. And so we're able to assist them with those things in that time. Finally, our level of care is our 3.1 transitional living. So those who are returning back to the community after they have been through inpatient care. We're able to assist those clients for up to 6 months as they try to get back on their feet and learn the skills and put those skills into practice. And we're able to help support them in that. Ultimately, it is about people. It's about helping people that are hurting, helping people who are struggling with addiction, helping people that really can be a drain on our community, but don't have to be. We want to uplift those people, and Josh has agreed to share some of his story, and I really am grateful for that. So, Josh.
Thanks, Brad. Thank you all for giving me a few moments to share my experience at the Center of Hope. Prior to the Center of Hope, I spent 16 years in addiction and alcoholism. Solid. There was no breaks during that time. I had basically given up on, everything that involved life itself. I wound up at the beginning of last year in the ER room. My family had admitted me to the ER room. I had, at that time, had drank so much that I had lost motor function, was barely able to speak, couldn't remember my own name. But I was still sort of seeking help at that point. The ER room admitted me to the Center of Hope. Once intake was complete, the staff monitored my vitals, my comfort level, kept me hydrated, kept me comfortable. I felt welcome. Once I was able to get up and start moving around, which took quite a bit of time, the staff encouraged me to socialize and interact with the other clients and staff. They encouraged me to go to the peer specialist groups and to attend daily client-led 12-step groups. They also assigned me chores, cooking, cleaning, stuff that we normally do. At the time, I didn't realize what they were doing, but what they were doing was instilling in me structure, responsibility, things that I had lost over the years of drug use and drinking. They got me set up with an ASAM. I started to realize that there was actually some hope and that I was at the right place. There might actually be a possible way out of the situation that I had got myself into. Once they got everything set up for treatment, they provided the transportation there. I spent 2.5 months at the Life House in Sheridan, which was absolutely 100% vital to my life of sobriety. Upon completion there, I returned to the Center of Hope as a transitional client and spent about 4 to 5 months there, going through different kinds of groups that were led by the peer specialists. Some of it I would consider like vocational rehabilitation. We did mock interviews, resume building, money management, a lot of emotional intelligence groups and stuff like that. Towards the end of the time, I found a acceptable place to move into with my sponsor, actually, which is a great place for someone like me to be. I was also employed at the time. I've been employed now just under a year as a beekeeper. I attend a 12-step meeting group every single night, chair on Wednesdays. I am now involved in a multitude of service positions, and I now have a thriving relationship with my family, my friends, my community, and my children. I think the most important thing that I've had the opportunity to witness is something that you really only see if you're in my position, and that's the lives of other alcoholics and addicts that are positively impacted by every success story that walks out of the Center of Hope. The Center of Hope was exactly that for me. It was the center for the hope of my future. It definitely laid the foundation, groundwork for my life of sobriety, and I owe them a great deal of gratitude. Thank you.
I want to thank the City Council for their funding and partnership that they provided for us last year. It's because of that funding, it's a portion of what we were able to do is help people like Josh. This year, we're asking for $55,000, and that money will go to enhancing our programs and helping people just like him. So I thank you for consideration and your time. Any questions?
Brad, just, you have how many social detox beds right now?
So we currently have 4 social detox beds, and the Northern Arapaho Tribe with the opioid settlement money has funded 2 additional ones.
Okay. Are those limited to then opioid?
So they have asked that they priority for Native American population, but not completely limited to said population. So.
Okay. Would there be any change in terms of how many social detox beds that would be available if you were funded as you've requested?
So we do have 8 physical beds available. We wouldn't necessarily be able to open up 2 additional with the funding. However, there are times when we're able to flex our numbers because of those additional beds, and if there's a little overlap in the timing of those programs, it becomes a lot easier to say yes to those clients when we have that additional funding. So.
And then if you had individuals who were intoxicated referred to you by the Riverton Police Department, do you take them currently?
Currently, we have spoken with the chief of police, and kind of the ask is that if they can get them to the ER to be medically cleared, if they're at a certain level, they need prescriptions to safely detox, and so at that point, we can kind of assist them and take over and get them into the program. So.
Okay. Great.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions? Thank you. Appreciate it, Brad. And thank you, Josh. All right, now we get into the Wind River group. We've got Wind River Refuge. And I think we had put Wind River Refuge along with
Foundation for Nations.
Foundation for Nations. So I guess whoever wants to go first to that, we're fine either way.
F to W. Thank you, guys, Mayor and council members. And admin, it's late and appreciate you guys taking this time to hear us. So I'm Sarah with Foundations for Nations Food Bank. I'm the president of Foundations for Nations Food Bank. We've been operating in Riverton since 2018. And in this past 6 years, we have fed on average 1,058 families a month through our food bank. That's not people, it's families. And when they come to our food bank, they're allowed to use our food bank twice a month, which gives them groceries up to a week for families. And so in the last few years, we have been partnering with Food Bank of the Rockies, and so we make a payment to them, and then they come and deliver to us. They do a food truck that we order through once a month, which is about 35 to 4,000 pounds of food in the beginning of the month, and then in the middle of the month, they bring us fresh produce and on the Wednesday of the 3rd of the month. And so we were able to give fresh produce to our community as well. We've been partnering with First Lady Jenny Gordon, too, as well, with her Hunger Initiative program here in the community. And she has been able to give us some small grants to keep us sustained at this point. Since COVID and the inflation, our client increase has came up 25%. And half of them are, 50% are Caucasian and 50% are Native American clients. We have people coming from Du Bois, Shoshone, Riverton, and the Wind River Reservation coming to use our pantry. We partner with Central Nutrition. They come in, they see what we have ordered in, and they make recipes for our clients that maybe not used to some of the foods that we get for our TFAP program, and they lay them out so that people know how to make the foods that come in. We do help with the schools. They have a weekend food supply backpack program, and the schools have come to our food bank to get food to help with the kids' backpacks to help hunger with those in need on the weekend. We have helped with our warming huts and our homeless shelters on the reservation, and the one that has just been put in over there by the 789, the warming hut this winter. We do have a great volunteer base. We hired in one, our director is paid, but we have 12 plus volunteers from our community that have come in to help every week, help with our food. It is a shopping experience, and so we don't pre-make the boxes because of food allergies and different things that people may not be able to eat. And so they get to shop and for themselves, and we help them carry out their groceries with their carts because some of them can't carry out the box themselves. We do partner with our probation officers. Our probation, we do a lot of community service hours for teenagers that are in need. They come and volunteer in our food bank as well. Since opening food bank in 2018, we have given out 313,134 pounds of food to our community. And that costed out of our personal account, just food alone, without the rent, without the utilities, without salaries, $65,595 in food costs alone. Why we're coming to you guys this year and never years before is we have built a rec center church out in the reservation, and we had moved our church out there, which moved, kept us from the new building that the last building we were in. And so we had to move into a new location. And with that moving of new location meant we had to do a remodel in the building because there was not set up for proper to have food donated through the building. And so we had to do maintenance on the building. We have to get new signs for the building. And now after being 5 to 6 years into it, we are needing to replace some of our refrigeration. And the ever-increasing in food. And so it just came with more money this year than ever before with trying to help fight hunger in our community. And so the last thing that we do is we don't just give out food to those that are in need, but we also do big opportunities with the Key Club, Rotary Club, and we do big holiday Thanksgiving dinner, and we do the Christmas baskets every year to our community. And on average, that's 250 families that will receive a turkey basket dinner from us or a ham basket for Christmas. And so we have been so involved with fighting the hunger in our community. Just a little bit of stats of our community. We, on average, there is 20,000 children and 14% of seniors in this state that are affected by hunger and poverty. And there's 1 in 8 people in our community that have food insecurity. And so we are trying to keep up with the demand in the area. End of the month is the hardest because people are running out of food stamps and are not able to budget their money and stretch it longer. And so we have been running out of food at the end of the month, every month. And so we're asking you to come and partake in helping in this area. I'm going to end with this quote. It says, "There are generally sufficient resources to ensure that no one, nowhere, at no time should go hungry." Ed Asner. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions? Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
My name is Desiree Henderson. I'm the director of Wind River Refuge, which is also a ministry of Foundations for Nations. And if you don't mind, I'd just like to hand out a brochure really quick.
Please.
Would you like us to help? That'd be great. Mr. Mayor and council members, thank you so much, and staff for just staying up so late and being willing to hear us out. Wind River Refuge is the only women's safe home in Fremont County and on the Wind River Indian Reservation. So there is no women's shelter in our county. We're one of the few counties in Wyoming that doesn't have a women's shelter. So you may know that the Fremont County Alliance Against Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault did have an emergency shelter previously, but they haven't had one since 2020. We are not emergency shelter, we're transitional housing, but we've worked very closely with the Fremont County Alliance in our training our staff, as well as with the Refuge in Lander, which is a faith-based domestic violence support group. We also did training for them so that we can host our own support group in Riverton. The only people were only driving to Lander, and there was a lot of local desire to have a group in Riverton and in this area. So we've also partnered with the Lore Foundation. We've gotten some grants from them. We have a 5-acre property and a home that was purchased a couple years ago. It's been remodeled. It's been supplied, new roof. We're homesteading it out there, so we're doing gardens and chickens and things to make us a little bit more sustainable with our food supply specifically. But we've spent in all between the purchase of the home, the mortgage, the remodel, just supplying the home with the security needs that we have, over $350,000 has been invested already. And so we're just asking for funding specifically for transportation. We need to get a 15-passenger van and to support kind of the homesteading, sustainability, our agriculture programs that we're putting in place now, as well as to pay down our mortgage and get that off of our operational budget. In Fremont County in 2021, there was about 1,700 calls received for domestic violence through just the Sheriff's Department alone, and 300 of those calls, women were seeking safe shelter, and we had none. And so the Fremont County Alliance Against Domestic Violence is able to do some emergency placement, but very briefly, in motel rooms. They have other ways that they do it, but it's very brief. They're a great partnership. The biggest problem they have is transitional housing for women who are coming out of emergency placement. And that is the heart of our ministry and our service. All of our staff are trained, certified domestic violence advocates in the state of Wyoming, and that's also, again, thanks to the Fremont County Alliance Against Domestic Violence. They've been an awesome partner to work with. They've been in the trenches here for 26 years and gave us probably the best training we could have had anywhere. And so we're just grateful for those partnerships. We serve adult women age 18 and over and their children who've been victims of domestic violence, trafficking, or sexual assault. They can stay anywhere from 60 days to 9 months. They can come in and after 2 weeks just evaluate if it's a program that's working for them and for their families. And if it is, then they can commit to a longer stay. And so we provide discipleship, soft and hard life skills training, similar to what you've heard from Center of Hope. So, conflict resolution, budgeting, parenting classes, job training, education services, all of those things we will provide. Case management, we'll be providing counseling. We know that most of the women that come in, often in domestic violence, will come in with addiction issues, and that's also something that we will be providing services for. And we'll also have an aftercare program. It's a pretty simple process moving in. I won't go into that, but our intakes will be done off-site, and our location is undisclosed. But the numbers here, about 50% of all women and children who are homeless because they're fleeing domestic violence. And talking to the warming hut, the homeless shelter in Arapahoe, and even here in town in Riverton, we've heard from all of the directors that they've had a lot of women in their shelters that are fleeing domestic violence, but they just have nowhere else to go. And so their homelessness is that cause. And there's some pretty shocking statistics in Wyoming, but there's actually more stiffer penalties for abusing your dog in Wyoming than for abusing your wife or your female partner. And so it's kind of a tragic statistic, but Native women in our area are experiencing domestic violence at a rate 10 times the national average. And so this really was birthed in the heart of Foundations for Nations because of so many experiences with women in domestic violence that were reaching out for help. And we had no place to place them. And so they were just members of the faith community taking them into their homes and trying to find housing and permanent housing for them. I'll just end with this, that we didn't pursue kind of the typical 30-day model of most domestic violence homes for the reason that the cycle typically continues if you don't get to the heart of the issue. And so we really wanted to give women and their children time to heal, time to get some new skills, to get some good education about domestic violence, to get on their feet and break some cycles. Because what you'll see in a lot of domestic violence situations and what Fremont County Alliance often sees is a lot of return victims who go from one abusive relationship to another. And so we'd like to get to the heart of that and just really break cycles of violence that have been made normal in people's families. Any questions?
Questions? All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
By the way, I would note I did have questions. I wrote them down as I was listening, and you answered them as you were talking. So, all right, Tim.
I would gladly allow the senior center to go.
Let's have the senior center go before you. That was actually what I was going to propose, but because you're seniors. No, I know the people that are, you're all young. Well, I mean, most of you.
Kids, they wouldn't believe you. I am Denise Rosno. Back here we have Mr. John Schumacher. He is the treasurer on our board of directors. Lori Shootman, she is the foster grandparent program manager. And Tish Tuttle, she is the Wyoming State Health Insurance Information Program manager.
We know Tish.
You know Tish.
Yes.
We're here on behalf of Herb Wilcox, our executive director. He had a family emergency out of state, so he couldn't be here. He might be listening, I don't know, but Wyoming Senior Citizens, Inc. is a nonprofit 501c3 that was organized in 1975. We help thousands of seniors and disabled across the state through our 7 programs. Everything concerning Medicare, from navigating Part D prescriptions to supplemental insurance to fraud and abuse prevention. We help seniors and the disabled stay in their homes through our in-home service programs. We have a senior companion program, and we also have a foster grandparent program who helps social, emotional, and academic support for children. Our ombudsman program advocates for the residents in nursing homes and assisted living facilities. Sorry, I'm a little thirsty.
It's been a long night.
Yeah. We have 5 offices throughout the state. Our main office is in Riverton, and the building was built in 2001, and at the time it met the current ADA regulations, but practically speaking, we have double doors to access our building, and when we get somebody in a wheelchair or with a walker, they just can't seem to navigate those doors, and if our staff is not available to open it or see them coming, it's almost impossible for them to gain entry. So what we are asking for is assistance in putting in automatic doors. We are federally and state funded, and we have a very robust budget, but it does not allow for any capital expenditures. So the State of Wyoming Aging Division has deemed us a senior center, but we do not qualify for any county mill levies, or we don't receive any of those in any of the counties that we're in. So that's why we're asking for a one-time help on the doors for our building. That's it. Any questions?
No, we ought to do this next time in order, not reverse order. What we ought to do is order of length. If you're the shortest, you get to
Yeah,
go
there you go.
first.
There we go.
Because,
I might have been a little longer earlier in the evening, but I'm ready to go home. It's past my bedtime, honestly.
that might be maybe why it's a little shorter right now.
Maybe start later, yeah.
We could do that.
Right. Or, you know what, I'll get out to my car and it's like, oh, I should have said that, but oh well.
Well, I really appreciate it. So this is, this is mainly to be able to get your building so that it's more accessible to your clientele is what
Correct.
we're talking about.
Correct. You know, and during our open enrollment season, which is just an eight-week period, I don't know how many people come through the office, but we have almost 3,000 contacts, and a lot of them are in the office in just that 8 weeks' time. And, you know, and it's winter time, and it's very difficult for them.
Well, I've seen your building. I know where you guys are at, so I hadn't noticed you didn't have automatic doors. That's interesting to me that, well, I've never, I guess, actually walked in it. I've been at the clinic right across, so. Anyway, all right. Any other questions?
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for sticking around so long.
Not a problem.
I hope John isn't billing for by the hour right now. I'm just kidding. I just have to give him a hard time because he's a lawyer. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming in and letting us meet you. Thank you. All right, Mr. Nichols. Can you keep to 5 minutes?
Absolutely not. Why do you think I let them go before me? Okay, I'm going to bring up.
You need to arrange, though, to have you do the full, we had talked
Yeah.
about.
By no means will I attempt that tonight. I've already put Mayor Hancock through that. Okay, so I'm going to stick to a few slides, and I'm actually going to slide through them here. So, Wind River Transportation Authority, this will be our first time, to my knowledge, and rightfully so, come out of the gate with a very high number. So, taking into consideration 5-month evaluation of our resources and how they've been expended in the past, our current staffing resources were allocated previously at 51% to contracts for service. Why was this? It was in an attempt to generate matching funds, so generate revenue. Taking into consideration that with a public transit, sorry, my cognitive functioning diminishes greatly after 4 p.m. So,
That's why we
yeah.
last.
So, our goal in this, let me get here, in this master plan that was just approved is to redefine our focus as a public transit entity. Previously, when majority of our focus was put on how do we generate our local match funds, we would like to secure more or less obligated source of revenues that would allow freedom of our resources to allocate to public service and impact. How we do that is by, so I'd like to bring your attention to that because the state and federal recommendations would rather our resources be allocated as such, right? Fixed route demand response, they can look in varying models, but with significant resources being for fixed route services. In order to do that, this is likely an outcome should state and federal dollars cooperate, which is highly likely with an unprecedented amount of funding being dedicated towards infrastructure and public transportation over the last 2 years.
You can slow down a little bit, Tim. I know you're trying to put what took us about 20 minutes in FCAG into 5.
Yes.
And I appreciate it.
Okay.
I guess starting from the top. 5 years, 5-year plan that you have developed, which we have not done, as far as I know, with WRTA. I mean, I've appreciated our our service over the years. Ron, have we had a 5-year plan from WRTA before? Yeah. And I say that because he's the former mayor, but your proposal includes expansion of routes.
Yes.
And to be able to do that, your request is for funding from each of the different entities that are benefiting from WRTA.
That is correct.
So that would include, and I'm not trying to steal your thunder, Tim,
You're doing the work for me. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
But you're seeking funding not only from the city of Riverton, but the other municipalities.
That's correct.
As well as other organizations that are benefiting from locations where you have routes going to currently.
That is correct. Yeah.
I'm saying this to simplify it because I could tell you're jumping through some of the presentation, and I'm trying to get to the juicy bits that it's going to be more helpful to this body.
Yes.
So I guess, where did the amount that you're asking from the city of Riverton come from? What does that represent?
Wonderful. Jump right to it. So in total, the routes in the next fiscal year will encompass the yellow, orange, and purple as far as fixed route lines. That includes an express commuter in between here and Riverton, or here in Lander, and Hudson. That encompasses the loop that currently exists, which is currently omnidirectional, but we have two running opposite, so each directional there. Also would include the introduction of the Safe Ride program in full. Now, total cost of that, orange is roughly $44,491.25, since orange and purple are the same. It duplicates the number on that side. What I'm talking about is simply our local match requirement to operate that existing route. The introduction of the yellow line includes the $99,934.59 local match. And then the Safe Ride program with the $65,333.67 local match obligation. Taking all those into consideration of the beneficiaries as such, and breaking it into a percentage based on population density, we wound up at the number of 49 and 40. Oh my goodness, the number that is on your presentation for the city of Riverton, and we'll be going to Riverton with or Lander with their percentage allocation as well, and the county is also considered in that breakdown.
So basically, based on ridership, population, use.
Yep.
That's what you're looking at.
Yep.
So up until now, you've had, and I guess just to, I'm not trying to make you jump around, Tim.
Nope.
We've had, what we currently have is what you're now calling the orange line and the purple line.
That is correct.
Which mainly is between Riverton, Hudson, one stop in Hudson, 4 stops in Lander, stop in Fort Washakie, a stop in Ethity, and then back to Riverton. So we're going around in a loop.
Yep.
And then we're going in a reverse loop for the purple line.
That's correct.
You're wanting to expand to have that include a red line, which would be an intercity line. Now, that's maybe not in the next year, but that's more.
Fiscal year 26.
But you're wanting to expand to have, I guess the next one would be the Riverton Hudson Lander bi-directional, that would be more of a express.
Yes, sir.
So that you're having fewer stops.
Yep.
And just going Riverton, Hudson, Lander, Riverton, or Lander, Hudson, Riverton.
That is correct.
And that's the next one that you're wanting to do.
If I might add on that element, with the traffic study that was conducted in Hudson, there's currently 6,800 vehicles that pass through Hudson on a daily basis. So if I could impact that at even 5%, I would consider that a success.
Right. That's part of the goal with public transportation.
Exactly.
Fewer vehicles on the road because more people are taking one vehicle.
Yes.
Albeit a bigger vehicle.
Yes.
All right, and then down the road, you're wanting to add the blue line, which would then be adding Du Bois and Shoshone to it. That's more 2026?
So given a prioritization and kind of immediate need, and this is strictly dependent on the 0.5% and how it is in its future, though uncertain, Du Bois Blue Line, Du Bois Shoshone Blue Line, and Riverton Intercity Red Line would be priorities in the coming fiscal year, or FY26.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry I kind of bounced you around.
You've been through this, so yeah, absolutely, by all means.
I was just wanting to make sure we didn't get everybody lost.
Yes.
Anything else to add? I'm sorry if I dragged you through.
You know, I'm sure I had something very inspirational to say when I got in here. I will leave you at this. Given my background is in transportation, I've been to many conferences where we talk about the economic impact of public transportation. And not to pick on anybody in the room, but if somebody could just envision with me the moment when citizens in Riverton or Lander, instead of spending $50, $40 to $60 to $70 a week at the pump, my apologies, Councilman Bailey, rather those dollars be infused into their local economies instead by way of a $40 a month bus pass and providing the same level of accessibility. Now, on a national scale, for every dollar that is contributed to public transportation, it renders usually a 5 times over return in the national GDP. So, if we can apply that in a micro scale in a rural setting, which in my opinion has not been done in the state of Wyoming successfully, we can make a huge economic impact in Fremont County.
Well, and I think part of what we've talked about in FCAG has been also, for example, one of the draws that we have to Fremont County, of course, is things in Lander. Then we have draws to things in Du Bois, for example, the new museum. We have Sinks Canyon, all of that. If we have people fly into Riverton and then take a bus to those things, we're making it more accessible.
Absolutely.
And then you can be doing things like staying in Riverton, hotels, eating in Riverton restaurants, and then going to the location and then returning. So it really ends up being a benefit to the whole county if we can improve our transportation.
Absolutely.
So.
And if I can find it, that's how we get there, is that identifying the key purposes of public transportation, which I know is in here somewhere.
But buses do use gas.
Yeah.
Presently, they do. The future is changing that dynamic.
Mr. Bailey, go ahead while he's looking.
So yes, as long as we agree to let the buses idle all the time, we'll be able to keep up.
Yes.
But I guess I see a huge advantage by letting the people that are that don't have available transportation to them, it opens up and frees their ability to get around the community and or the county to pursue employment opportunities. They live in Riverton, they could work in Lander or vice versa, and they could go shopping and they can get to their doctor's appointments and they could get to Shoshone to get on the bus to go to Billings for a medical issue. And so I think by opening up these opportunities, I think we allow people to live here that maybe couldn't live here now because they don't have transportation. And at least be able to get around and improve their quality of life by being able to get to the things they need to do without having to walk in January when it's 40 below zero.
Certainly.
And get where they need to go, so.
Good point.
What is the current cost for, is it a monthly?
Fair.
Uh-huh.
So, presently it's $2 a ride.
Okay.
For a month pass, which is unlimited rides, presently it's $40 a month. We did just officially get the okay from the state to move forward on digital fare collection through token transit. So soon, and I mean within the next couple months, you will be able to download your bus pass on your phone.
So get in, scan the QR code, it takes care of it.
Yes. So.
Your Honor, I had a question. It just kind of occurred to me while I was sitting here listening to you. Do you have wheelchair accessible vans?
Both vans and buses, yes.
Oh, good. Thank you.
And actually, one of the proposed, and by the way, so I'm not meaning to speak for Tim, but one of the proposed improvements has been also bike racks for the buses, so that when you're getting to where you need to, you've actually got your bike and you can get off and go where you need to go.
We're going Jackson-y, aren't we?
Yeah, if I could elaborate slightly on that, is actually that was kind of a partnership with the Lore Foundation as well. They supplied the local match. The grant application is currently sitting with the state right now, but is highly likely to be approved. So in the next fiscal year, every vehicle owned by WRTA will have bike racks attached to it.
And I think we're well served by Tim. He came here from Laramie. He's been really trying to make a difference and improve the ability to get around in the county. And a lot of the ideas he has, I could see really getting some traction. Ha! That's a good one.
Getting late.
It is getting late. Any other questions? Anything else to add, Mr. Nichols?
Not at all, thank you. Thank you for that wonderful presentation, Mr. Mayor.
You did. Your dedication is noted. Thank you. We should put that in the minutes. Should we?
Extra credit for that or something.
Yeah. Do we have any other, that's all I have on my agenda. Everybody ready to go home? I'm ready to go home.
Mayor, next year I'm going to do a random generator ornate.
There you go.
Let's do it, because I think last time we did the same thing alphabetical, and I feel bad with the,
I know one year I took the ones in the middle and then split them out top and bottom, but we'll do a random generator next year.
I was just realizing that because we did the same order as last year, and it's kind of hard to sit through that when you've had to sit through it.
We could let them pick numbers in the way in the door, or,
Could be it.
Random drawing.
I still like the idea of a commitment to a time limit, and shortest goes first.
Yeah, there you go.
We could probably get out of here pretty quick. Thank you, Ms. Rector. All right, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the council work session.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Larson with the motion. Councilwoman Borders with the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. We are adjourned at 10:22 PM. Thank you for sticking around so long.